American Comics, My Dad is Batman author Liu Pi, Chapter 101 Harley Quinn Prison Escape. Please order the full version. Please customize. Jason is very satisfied with the weapons he made. Although I don't know if it can reach the level of top metal in the Marvel Universe, but ordinary people certainly can't stop it. But you will know when you meet Captain America. Skynet. Equip all the armors with melee weapons. Load various cold weapon templates and establish combat data models. Experiment to find the most suitable weapon first. Then proceed with installation. Jason made plans for Skynet. After installing these weapons, the steel armor has no shortcomings. It can engage in both melee and long-range attacks. Perfect. Just when Jason was proud of his masterpiece, Bruce Wayne walked into the laboratory with a solemn expression. Something happened to Jason. Bruce Wayne looked depressed. It seemed like something extraordinary had happened. Jason was confused. What happened? Well, someone has escaped from Arkham Asylum. Bruce Wayne let out a long sigh. What? Someone from Arkham escaped from prison again? Jason looked at Bruce Wayne with surprise. Although Arkham is full of various captured supercriminals, but breaking out of prison every 3 days is really too much. There seems to be no security measures here. It's my fault too, for not being able to complete the transformation of Arkham last time. Jason slapped his head and said with some annoyance. He was due to something last time. There was no time to modify it. As time passed, he also forgot about this matter. Now Bruce Wayne says so. He just reacted. By the way, who escaped from prison? Harley Quinn and a few common criminals. Bruce Wayne covered his forehead with a headache. Harley Quinn? How did she escape? Jason asked with surprise on his face. Jason can understand if some super ability criminals escape from prison. After all, the guards are ordinary people, and they are a little weak when facing people with super abilities. He can understand people like Joker, a master of psychology. He could confuse people just by opening his mouth. But what about Harley Quinn? Not to mention Jason, even Bruce Wayne could give her a concussion with one hand. This can be used to jailbreak, something Jason never imagined. Well, the guards at Arkham are all men, you know what I mean. Bruce Wayne is a bit unspeakable. Jason understood immediately. The next ugly girl, Harley Quinn, is a bit crazy, but it still looks very good looking, and because of regular exercise, my figure is very good looking. A nurse who works at Arkham Asylum all year round. The upper brain of the sperm is also normal. Okay, I'll go and help you renovate it right away. Actually, I'm looking for you for another matter. Bruce Wayne said. What's the matter? Jason asked with some confusion. Harley Quinn seems to have heard about Joker. It seems like they are going to take revenge on us. Bruce Wayne sighed again. Jason also sighed. Harley Quinn is not a problem. The combat effectiveness is not high either. Jason stood there and let her hit him, but she might not be able to deal with him. But there are many ordinary people in Wayne Group. These people are no match for Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn likes to use a baseball bat though, but that doesn't mean she isn't proficient in thermal weapons. Joker, this crazy person, taught this crazy woman a lot. This is not a good thing for Wayne Group employees. Jason is not like that either. People who let others suffer for themselves. Okay, I'll take care of this. Okay, Jason. It's all up to you. Bruce Wayne patted Jason on the shoulder and left happily. Jason looked at Bruce Wayne's back, very helpless. Batman will also cheat his son. This aloof persona can no longer be maintained. Well, Jason let out a long sigh. Since he inherited the wealth of the entire Wayne family, he also has to bear some responsibilities. Skynet on the trail of Harley Quinn. No specific trace could be traced. Skynet gives a map. Above is Harley Quinn's movement trajectory after his escape. But after entering the ghetto, Skynet has completely lost track of Harley Quinn. Jason also touched his forehead. The ghetto has always been a big problem in Gotham. Underneath the upper echelons of Gotham City, the old town of this era, it has become a hotbed of evil in Gotham City. Bruce Wayne has wanted to transform Old Town several times, but they were all rejected by the current director. This slum has also become the darkest place in Gotham City. In a place like this, you can't expect anything like a camera. Wayne Group did install it too. Just the next day, all these things were taken away by those people and sold for money. Over time, Wayne Group gave up on the idea. Now he is having a lot of trouble finding someone. Try to track down any information you can. Jason spoke. After a while, Skynet said. Anomaly found. Several of Joker's capital accounts have changed, and there are large self-movements. According to our investigation, this is a private account in Bellerov prison, used to conduct some great transactions. What is this place? Jason frowned and said. This is a mental hospital and prison secretly established by the military. There are some criminals and mutants in there. Skynet's voice sounded again. Jason also saw information about this prison. All in all, this is a secret prison, used to imprison some valuable criminals. To put it bluntly, they are people with super ability. The Society of Bald Eagle is not a fair society. The prisoners here, if they were in a place like that, would definitely be the outcome of being shot. But in Bald Eagles, because they have value, they become the target of competition. As for the dead, they are all dead anyway. Who will care? It is said here that Mo Wang Hao is a prison, but in fact it is a large domestication center. The more honest among them can obtain the status of a non-staff member of the military. Come out and do work for the military. He who is dishonest will not waste. Ordinary people can experiment with potions, and mutants are even better experimental materials. Human life is a commodity here, and it is incredibly cheap. Harley Quinn served time here, but Joker rescued her from it. It's also very normal to get to know the people inside. Who did Harley Quinn contact? Jason asked. Harley Quinn is probably the only person who can still use Joker's funds after his death. Even what she can use is only part of Joker's funds. One can imagine what a selfish person N10 is. By killing him, Jason is really doing something good for the people. Deadshot and Killer Croc. Skynet's voice sounded in the narration. Interesting. A smile appeared on Jason's lips. Chapter 102, Renovation of the Lunatic Asylum. Please order the full version. Please customize. Bald Eagle is a capitalist country. Here, as long as you have money, you can do anything. Even being president is not impossible. It couldn't be easier to buy 2 people out of prison. Only $5 million. The military personnel released the 2 men without any hesitation to them. This is simply a worthless business. You can make so much money by selling yourself. Is there anything easier than this in the world? Not to mention, maybe we can catch these people and sell them again. Therefore, Deadshot Floyd Lawton Jr. and Killer Croc Waylon Jones were released. 2 criminals just released from prison. Penniless, at this time, an inmate from the former prison sent a message. There is a multi-million-dollar order. How many people can withstand this temptation? Not to mention, Deadshot is a mercenary and Killer Croc is a criminal. There is no hesitation. Apparently they had accepted Harley Quinn's offer, and this was already 3 days ago. Jason slapped his forehead helplessly. Bruce Wayne still needs to save face. Maybe every father is like this. On the one hand, it is gratifying to see that his son is better than himself. On the other hand, when I saw my son surpassing me by 220, I felt a little uncomfortable. Bruce Wayne clearly wants to solve the problem himself first. Unexpectedly, the game was broken. Batman is not good at finding traces of other people, although he has a lot of spies in Gotham City. But when these 3 guys went into the slums, no one could find them. Coupled with Gotham City's developed sewer system, as long as you can stand the smell, it's a very good hiding place. But Jason would never go to that kind of place. The sewer leads directly to the toilet. Everyone knows what is inside. So those superheroes are really hardworking and really heroes. Think little Spider-Man. After strengthening the 6 senses, the sense of smell becomes very sensitive. But in order to track Dr. Lizard, I went to the sewer and spent 7 times in and 7 out. This is the true warrior. Jason felt like he couldn't keep up with him even if he tried to flatter him. Anyway, as soon as he mentioned the sewer, he suddenly thought of a way. Skynet, are you there? Master, what are your orders? How many more drones do we have? Jason asked. We have about 100,000 general-purpose drones in our warehouse. Well, okay. Load them all with life recognition modules and find these people for me, Jason said viciously. This is the benefit of having deep pockets. 100,000 drones only cost more than $10 million. To him, it's just water. Both he and Bruce Wayne use this thing as a consumable. This is a universal drone designed by Wayne Group. Dozens of different technology modules can be loaded, then use it with different tactics. Jason could have sent them out to find these 3 hiding guys. This is naturally impossible for ordinary people. 100,000 drones cannot be controlled at all. For Skynet, it is a piece of cake. Its young master, the drone has started loading modules, can get out of the nest in a few minutes. And remember, be careful and keep it in a hidden place. Don't be beaten down and sold by those people again. Jason patted his head and said, the biggest loss from using drones in Gotham City is not the various criminal elements. It's all kinds of gangsters and the poor people at the bottom of the slums. These people are really crazy. Add to that the proliferation of guns. Wayne Group drones are often shot down and sold for money. Wayne Group's technology is nothing to him. For other ordinary people, it is already an incredible high technology. These people see drones the same way they see moving dollar bills. Jason has suffered losses several times. He could only remind Skynet to pay more attention. Let Skynet control the drone. Jason spoke again. Skynet, build a digital model of Arkham Asylum. Jeff, the biggest benefit of artificial intelligence is that it can multitask. As long as the computing power is sufficient, artificial duplication can be unlimited. Therefore, it is very easy for Skynet to build a digital model. Give me a working projection interface, Jason said. Jason looked at the projection interface in front of him and began to operate it slowly. Arkham Asylum is a century-old building, although it has been transformed. But the facilities are still very backward. It looks like the dark and crazy mental hospital in the movie. In addition, the people here are all serious criminals, and it has the function of half a prison. The room is similar to a small single room in Shawshank Redemption. It's just that the blockade is tighter. Old and outdated equipment. The environment is naturally very poor. Think of it as a research center for abnormal humans. Jason looked at it and held his forehead. This renovation project is quite large. All the doors here have been replaced with electronic doors. Extremely dangerous criminals, using mechanical and electronic hybrid blockade methods, establishing an intelligent monitoring system inside the prison, establish electronic blockade measures, mechanical blockade measures. All security personnel have been replaced and retrained. Establish a strict shift system and do not overlap with each other. Strictly monitor the mental state of security personnel. Soon, Jason put forward nearly 100 suggestions for renovation. Most of it is the transformation of internal system personnel and environment. In secret he even added a weapon system, although there are no lethal weapons. But those who want to escape from prison must enjoy an anesthesia package. Robot guards have also been added inside to prevent these guards from being invaded. Jason also uses a very original method of operation. Wired remote control has no external interface at all, and there is no possibility of hacking. Various portals are also dual structures of mechanical and intelligent systems. It must be unlocked by both aspects at the same time. Even if a super criminal breaks through Skynet's protection, it is impossible to break into prison. He also replaced the prison's outer wall with a multi-story structure. High hardness alloy added to reinforced concrete. Extra heat insulation layer, good heat dissipation. Even fake ionization protection. Even if those mutants who can walk through walls come, they can only return without success. Fundamentally eliminate the possibility of prison robbery. Okay, let's do this for now, and I'll add more when I think of it. Would you like to add more? Skynet's voice has some hesitation. There is even some pity for these criminals. Is this kind of prison enough for Hulk? There is no escape from this. Hulk can't handle the high concentration spinal paralysis drug developed by Jason, right? For the first time, Dan Wang felt that his young master was a bit crazy. Build this thing. Who do you want to imprison? Chapter 103, S.H.I.E.L.D'S gaze. Please order in full. Please customize. Jason didn't think there was anything wrong with his operation. Although in his opinion, it's best to kill all the super criminals so as not to come out and harm others. But now that Bruce Wayne has said it, he can only grant this cheap man one wish. After all, Bruce Wayne is still very good to him. It would be good for him to make the prison more sturdy. Okay, let's start the preliminary construction. According to this design plan, Arkham Asylum could be repurposed in parts. I don't believe the defense has reached this point. There were still people who were able to get out. Okay, Master, Tan Wang said with a strong heart to suppress the fluctuations in his heart. And Master, the 3 people you asked me to find already have clues. According to drone detection, they are in a certain house in the slums. The Wayne Group is planning an attack. I heard Skynet say that. Jason slapped his forehead in frustration. When he killed Joker, I don't know how the news was leaked. Now these plagued villains are trying to cause trouble for him. It made it impossible for him to study technology properly. It's just too much. I was sulking for a while. Jason was quite helpless. Catch these 3 guys. I want to see how these 3 people are put out. Dare to deal with our Wayne Group. Jason was also angry inside. Such 3 chickens. Batman can beat them all. I don't know where these guys got the courage. This may be the legendary fearlessness of those who don't know. And capture these guys. Jason didn't even bother to take action himself. Just lining up a few battle armors is enough. After all, a suit is equivalent to a member of the Avengers. He has a team of Avengers with him. It's the young master. A pursuit team has been sent out. One more thing. The personal secretary you needed to find some time ago has been selected. Now you need to pick one yourself. Wayne was stunned for a moment when he heard this, and then quickly reacted. There is such a thing as the heir to Wayne Group. He doesn't just have that much money. There are also all kinds of troubles. Although not as egregious as Tony Stark, every move can cause a carnival in the news section. But the news is still very curious about him, especially some journalists, often running to the front of the Wayne family's estate to block the door. It troubled him very much. In addition, he will be invited to various parties and gatherings. So Bruce Wayne suggested he get a personal secretary. As for the loyal old butler Alfred, I only loaned him out for a period of time. Bruce Wayne himself has more to deal with than Jason. So, some time ago, he asked Skynet to help him recruit a secretary online. There should be results now. Okay, let me see. Who is there? Jason quickly flipped through the operational projector interface. Have to say, although Skynet is an artificial intelligence, its aesthetics are still very good. The ones selected are all beauties. Regardless of his temperament or appearance, Jason looks like a junior high school student. Educational qualifications and work experience are even more blinding. What about Wharton Business School, MIT graduate, Cambridge PhD student, working for many Fortune 500 companies? No matter which one of these, in his previous life, he could only look up. Now he is choosing one by one like a beauty pageant. Have to say, the world is truly wonderful. Looking through these resumes, Jason's eyes suddenly froze. Maria Hill, graduated from Wharton Business School. Proficient in French, Spanish, Japanese, Russian, Chinese. Seeing this information, Jason's mouth twitched. How come this woman's information appears here? Skynet, what's going on? Master, this S.H.I.E.L.D. agent submitted his resume a few weeks ago. Because I'm just a life secretary, I don't have the ability to leak information. I didn't filter it out. Seeing this, he rubbed his forehead. What Skynet said does make sense. But when this woman comes, she will definitely not be honest. A high-level agent is not that simple. Black Widow's status in S.H.I.E.L.D. is indeed higher than that of Maria Hill. But in terms of the degree of confidence, but she is not as good as Maria Hill agent. This is the true henchman of Nick Fury. He even served as the acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Such a woman. How could it be a simple item? No need to ask. Such a troublesome person should be his secretary. Please give me flowers. It must have been old guy Nick Fury's idea. Looks like the old guy is going to rope him into Avengers. Indeed. He seems more suitable than Tony Stark. The Wayne family has a long history, except for a few oddities in family history. Most of the Wayne family are good people, like Bruce Wayne's parents. In order to transform Gotham City's environment, most of the Wayne family's wealth was even used for Gotham City's infrastructure. Bruce Wayne has always been Batman, punishing evil and promoting good. It's because Wayne's family is in Gotham City, so there are very few S.H.I.E.L.D. people in Gotham City. Plus, over the years, the money that the Wayne family supports S.H.I.E.L.D. all falls into the hands of Nick Fury himself. The Wayne family still has a very high reputation with him. Compared to the unreliable Tony Stark, he is naturally more optimistic about Jason Wayne, who comes from the Wayne family. But Jason doesn't want to be an Avenger at all. The Avengers are busy saving the world every day, encountered countless dangers. Jason can accept this. He was not a peaceful person to begin with and liked taking risks. Besides, by doing these things, he can also be exposed to more plot tasks, get a lot of fresh technology. But, being an Avenger is so tiring, busy with various things every day. Sometimes you have to be kidnapped by morality. It's like there are some trolls on the internet. The Avengers couldn't do anything about it. Jason would have directly located his position and hit him with a big-eared melon seed. How great would it be to be free to do whatever you want? Why do you have to suffer with the Avengers? And what if the Avengers end up having internal strife? Who is he helping in a fight? Logically he should help Tony. But Captain America's concept of fighting against the street is more in line with him. He doesn't like these idiot politicians either. So joining the Avengers is out of the question. But becoming a consultant shouldn't be a problem. Tony Stark could only be a consultant because of his personality problems at first. Why can't he? After thinking for a while, Jason looked at the photo of Maria Hill and fell into deep thought. That's it, Tan Wang. Let her come for an interview tomorrow. Chapter 104 Exposed. Please order the full version. Please order it yourself. Skynet's work efficiency has always been very high. As a competent artificial intelligence, he did everything Jason asked him to do very well, such as arranging interviews. The next day, Maria Hill had already appeared in the reception room of Wayne Manor. Not like Bruce Wayne. After all, he is just the successor of Wayne Group, not the leader. Many shareholders of Wayne Group actually don't give him much face. Jason is also very disgusted with these guys who only know how to fight among themselves. Therefore, he rarely goes to Wayne Group. Naturally, it would be more comfortable to have the interview in Wayne Manor. After breakfast, Jason walked into the reception room calmly. Met Maria Hill with a dead man face. Not that this woman was targeting Jason, but he seems to be like this when facing anyone. Even 993 Nick Fury. Maria Hill didn't smile much either, even less so when facing Jason. This made Jason a little envious of Tony Stark. Black Widow is so great. She is so eye-catching, can smile, and has a good figure. The spinster in front of Kobe is much better. How much lack of love does it take to look like a mother all day long? I complained about Maria Hill in my heart. Jason then spoke. Miss Maria. Yes. Hill agent had a serious look on his face, which made Jason feel as if he was about to do something big. Okay, relax. Don't be so serious. Jason yawned. Coffee or tea? Coffee. Thank you. Miss Maria Hill has no interviewer consciousness at all. Jason didn't care much either. Pour her a cup of coffee directly. Made myself a cup of tea. Take a sip. Jason just asked. Miss Maria, I don't know why you came to apply for my secretary. High salary. Maria Hill cherishes words like gold. He said these 3 words directly. This made Jason almost spit out the tea in his mouth, looking at Maria Hill with a strange expression. He was doubtful. With the character of Maria Hill, can she do this position well? After all, his secretary is a role that requires a lot of skill. How did he feel about letting Maria Hill be his personal secretary? Will it offend everyone? Maria Hill didn't care about Jason's face at all. In fact, if it weren't for Nick Fury's request, she didn't even want to come on this mission. Be a secretary to a teenager. We also need to assess her psychological condition and then make her feel like a nanny. Although this child is taller, stronger and more handsome. That was also a teenager. She now wants to serve the playboy Tony Stark. I don't want to stay here either. Naughty children are the most annoying. Jason didn't even know he was being disliked for no apparent reason. Not knowing much about Maria Hill, he thought this was a normal situation. After all, Maria Hill behaves like an iceberg beauty no matter where she is. But look at her like this. It doesn't seem like he's easy to communicate with either. Jason is straightforward and doesn't pretend. Just say it directly. What, Miss Maria? Isn't S.H.I.E.L.D'S salary as high as what I offer? Don't deny it so quickly. Jason stopped Maria Hill, who was about to speak. When I say this, I am certainly confident. Although Miss Maria's identity is very cleverly disguised, but it is not impossible to investigate. Some of the fabricated data are unreliable. Jason smiled and said to Maria Hill, the agent, goes out in the field very rarely. Most are led by Nick Fury as the lead on large projects. Not as good as Black Widow in some places. For example, Black Widow's fake identity information is shown. She once worked as a lingerie model in Tokyo, and Black Widow did exactly that. Maria Hill is different. Many things are fake. Most people may not be able to find out. But what Skynet faces is full of loopholes. Mr. Jason, you misunderstood. What organization is S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'm just an ordinary person, Maria Hill said very calmly. The psychological quality is very high. Miss Maria, our Wayne family is an ally of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's not difficult for me to investigate something, so your excuse is very ridiculous. Miss Maria Hill, Level 9 agent. Jason stared straight at Maria. The expression on his face was very oppressive. Maria Hill looked at Jason's expression. Just know that her identity may have been leaked. Although she knew where the problem was, she needed to solve the problem now. The Wayne family has always been an ally of S.H.I.E.L.D. It would be bad if Jason misunderstood him. So Maria Hill said with a serious face. Now that you've discovered it, I won't hide it. Actually, you are in great danger now. We, S.H.I.E.L.D., have discovered that someone wants to harm you, so I was sent to protect you secretly. Maria Hill looked sincere. If Jason didn't know so much, he might really believe it. Good guy. Worthy of being a level 9 agent. This ability to tell lies with open eyes is indeed worthy of her level. Since Maria Hill likes acting, Jason is also very cooperative. There was a hint of arrogance on his face. When did I need a woman to protect me? Besides, none of us at Wayne Group have received the news. How do you S.H.I.E.L.D. know? As far as I know, your S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't seem to have much power in Gotham. I think you, S.H.I.E.L.D., are interested in the wealth of our Wayne family, right? Jason crossed his arms and sneered. Maria Hill saw Jason's face. I cursed inwardly. Bad boy. If you weren't on a mission, I would have given you a beating today. Although Maria Hill thought so in her heart, she didn't dare to actually do it. Only 0.8 could squeeze out a smile on his face. Jason, you misunderstood. Our S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Wayne family have always been friendly. Besides, the Wayne family supports us very much every year. How can we have any thoughts about the Wayne family? We really got the news that someone is trying to do you harm. It's a terrorist organization called the World Gang from the oil country. Hearing this, Jason was a little surprised. He now believes that someone will cause trouble for him. Ten Rings and him are old enemies. He destroyed a stronghold and killed a leader. I also got a lot of benefits from there. However, he couldn't say that on his face. You said there is one? What kind of organization is Ten Rings? Perhaps S.H.I.E.L.D. made it up to deceive people. I want to see Nick Fury. Chapter 105 Identity Exposed. Please order the full version. Please customize it. Jason Wayne, just talk to me about whatever you want. No need to ask for director Nick Fury, Maria Hill said with some gritted teeth. If Jason really asked Nick Fury to come here, didn't her mission fail? That woman, Natasha Romanoff, can maintain such a high mission success rate. How could she lose to her? You cannot. Jason glanced at Maria Hill with contempt. It's not that he thinks Maria Hill's ability is not good. Quite the opposite. Maria Hill's ability is definitely among the best among humans. She is a level 9 agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Whether it's fighting ability or mind, they all stand at the top of mankind. Jason had no reason to look down on people who became strong through hard work that he disdained. The reason why he said that, totally because of Nick Fury. Nick Fury, this old guy, is so ruthless. He doesn't trust anyone. In his eyes, anyone can pose a threat to the earth. Because 26 years like Zhu Liang who died from exhaustion during the Three Kingdoms period. Everything is done personally. I can't bear to delegate power at all. There are many secrets that only he knows. His men were kept in the dark. Only when doing tasks, he might reveal something. Although Maria Hill is his absolute confidant, but I still don't know much. Jason thinks there's really no point in talking to her. She couldn't decide whether to be an Avenger or not. Although Jason doesn't want to be an Avenger, but I really want the privileges given by S.H.I.E.L.D. To put it bluntly, he just wanted to have sex for free. Prostitution makes me happy. Yelling in his mind, Jason had an inexplicable smile on his face. Maria Hill looked a little confused. Mr. Jason, do you really want to see our director? Definitely, Jason replied without saying a word. All right. There was no room for rejection in Jason's tone. Maria Hill reluctantly sighed. Director Nick Fury is waiting for you at the nearby cafe, Maria Hill said. This time it was Jason's turn to be a little surprised. Nick Fury actually came in person? Really interesting. It seems that Director Nick Fury still attaches great importance to me. I will go and see for myself. Jason thought for a while and decided to meet Nick Fury, the old fox, under the leadership of Maria Hill. Soon he saw the Cyclops. At the moment this guy was drinking coffee with Yuya leisurely. I saw Maria Hill walking in. There was no surprise in Nick Fury's one eye. Ha, Hill, go down and I'll talk to Mr. Jason personally. Yes, Director Nick Fury. Maria Hill glanced at the two people. Quietly withdrew. Sit, Nick Fury said to Jason like a master. Jason looked at Nick Fury, a little confused. Take a sip of coffee. Nick Fury finally spoke. Should I call you Prophet or Jason Wayne now? Hearing what Nick Fury said, Jason was suddenly shocked. But he soon calmed down. Director Nick Fury, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Ha, Jason, let me teach you something. There is no airtight wall in the world. Since you did it, you will be discovered. Nick Fury stared at Jason with one eye. Jason saw Nick Fury's determined look. He frowned. How did you know? Jason, you are not the only super-able person in this world, Nick Fury said earnestly. Hearing this, Kang Sen slapped his head. My heart is filled with annoyance. He forgot one thing. This was not his previous world. This is a comprehensive world of the Marvel world and the DC world. Here, there are countless people with special abilities. Many people have incredible special abilities. Whether it is predicting the future, divination, or even going back in time, it is possible. He is still careless. But Jason wasn't terribly panicked. It's no big deal that Nick Fury knows his identity. He hid his identity simply to avoid trouble. Unless Nick Fury is crazy. Before he shows anti-human nature, there was no way he could use the power of S.H.I.E.L.D. against him. At most, I was a little wary of him. But then again, who is Nick Fury defenseless against? Okay, Director Nick Fury, now that you know everything, I won't hide it. What do you want? Jason said very bachelorly. No, it's not what I want, it's what you want, Nick Fury asked, staring at him with one eye. I just want to live, Jason said with a bitter tone. Why has he been working so hard on advanced research? It's been nearly a year since he traveled through time. He didn't go to parties or have fun, and he didn't even look for girls. Instead, I spent all day in the laboratory. What is it for? Just to survive. He wants to make sure that he can survive in the future war. If Thanos got all the infinite gems, hit it with a snap of your fingers. What if he is the missing half? He didn't want to put his life or death on luck. He needs to be strong enough to stand up to Thanos. Nick Fury looked at the expression on Jason's face. His face looked ugly. The future you see is so bad. 223 Seeing Nick Fury's appearance, Jason snorted coldly. It's just going to be worse than you think. Maybe half the people on the planet will die. What? Nick Fury is a bit out of his element. As an old fox, Nick Fury is definitely a cunning guy. It is the most basic thing to calm down your anger and not show it in form. Add a layer of black protective color on his face. Very few people can figure him out. This time, he shouted out in shock. One can imagine how shocked he was at the moment. This is impossible. After Nick Fury was shocked, he quickly calmed down. Nothing is impossible. You should have seen the power of the Tesseract. Why do you think this is impossible? And maybe, you will have a record of what will happen in the future. Jason had a sneer on his face. If Nick Fury didn't let people study the power of the Tesseract, everything might come later. Definitely, as long as the Ancient One, the Asgardian, and Odin, the Old Man, die, Thanos will definitely invade Earth. But the decision was not so quick. No more Tesseracts. Want to reach the Earth from it? It will take at least several hundred jumps. This takes more time. It is not certain that human power will be stronger at that time. There is nothing wrong with Nick Fury taking the blame. Chapter 106 The Complexity of Human Nature. Please order the full version. Please customize it. The atmosphere between the two people fell into silence for a moment. Two people with their own thoughts face each other, nor spoke until the coffee in front of the two of them was cold. Nick Fury asked with a gloomy expression. What do you mean? Seeing Nick Fury ask, the corners of Jason's mouth raised slightly. He took control of the conversation again. Already in the beginning, Nick Fury is taking control of the situation intentionally or unintentionally. Whether he claims to be the master or suddenly reveals his identity, he wants to disrupt Jason's mentality. Good control of the rhythm. However, what he didn't expect was that Jason knew much more than he thought. For example, the Tesseract project. Not many people in S.H.I.E.L.D. know about it. He studies this in a subterranean building that cost nearly $10 billion to build. Relevant scientists. After entering the project, I never went out again. There is no possibility of leaking secrets. Nick Fury feels that even Hydra in S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot possibly know this. But Jason just knew it. Nick Fury can only attribute this to Jason's precognitive ability. It is precisely because of this. Jason's words became very credible. That's why he asked that question. That's what it means literally. Although you have good intentions, you don't know how to use it. Natural will bring disaster. Jason shook his head. The ordinary man is not guilty, but he is guilty of carrying the jade. If only the Tesseract were in the hands of the Ancient One and Odin. No one is interested in infinite gems. Like Odin, he doesn't even bother to use the power of infinite gems. He even gave the reality gem, a cosmic treasure, directly to the collector. There is absolutely no intention of owning it. The same goes for the time gem in Ancient One's hand. She has mastered gems for hundreds of years, but no one has ever coveted the gem in her hand. Only Nick Fury was working on the Tesseract. Only then did he catch Thanos' attention. Nick Fury has no power to protect the gems, nor any ability to block other prying eyes. It is completely normal to be targeted by others. Nick Fury had a gloomy expression on his face when he heard Jason's words. Jason spoke again. You should know that we are not the only civilization in the universe. The reason why our civilization can still exist peacefully, it's because there are people you don't know who are protecting us. Like you said to Tony Stark, he is not the only superhero in the world, and you are not the only protector in the world. But what you do and say has attracted the attention of the entire universe to the Earth. Director Nick Fury, Do you think what you did was right or wrong? Jason said while staring at Nick Fury. Nick Fury was silent. I'm just trying to protect humanity, Nick Fury said. He really just wants to protect humans. No matter what, Nick Fury has a good heart, and everything he does is to protect mankind. It was not his fault that he studied Tesseract. It was just limited by his vision. This is the only way he can choose. However, it cannot be said that he is completely correct. At least he doesn't trust anyone. This is also one of the root causes, such as the Insight Project. I want to eradicate my confusion through monitoring, without fundamentally solving the problem. It was originally a way to take shortcuts. This thing is inherently wrong. Human nature is complex. To evaluate a person, one must look at it dialectically. Nick Fury is a very complicated person. Jason doesn't expect to change Nick Fury's mind either. He said it just to remind Nick Fury, just to avoid something from happening. Director Nick Fury, the wheel of fortune has begun to turn. All we can do is to enhance our strength in this world of great change. Protect your own race when the time comes, Jason said directly. Nick Fury gave him a deep look. It seems you know a lot more than I thought. Yes, I know a lot of things. It's the same for everyone. Doesn't Director Juan originally have a lot of secrets? I know you know a great guy. If possible, call her back early and the situation will be much better, Jason said directly. Captain Fantastic is the most awesome. The combat power is comparable to that of Thor, who possesses Stormbreaker. Physical combat ability can fight Thanos. He is also a fierce man who can physically destroy starships and challenge the Kree fleet. If she comes back early, where would so many people die? Don't tell me, this woman also has many new technologies. Captain Fantastic still needs to come back soon. When Nick Fury heard this, he took a deep look at Jason again, even a little vigilant. Jason saw this look and smiled disdainfully. Nick Fury, you and Tony Stark are actually the same type of people. They are all the kind of people who are extremely proud in their hearts, but they feel a little inferior in their hearts. Having witnessed so many things, you don't trust others at all. I just feel like I'm the savior. Always suspect that others will harm this society. This is actually a sign of lack of confidence. Jason glanced at Nick Fury. If it were him, it's definitely not like Nick Fury. If anyone wants to cause trouble for him, he just beat the shit out of this guy. Still causing trouble. Nick Fury was secretly preparing various means. He doesn't even trust his own possession. Simply a hermaphrodite. Hear Jason say that. Nick Fury glanced at him again. You have mastered extraordinary power and don't understand the fears of ordinary people at all. Tony Stark and I are just normal people. We neither have Superman's power like Hulk, nor do we have the ability to predict things like you. We are all facing the unknown. Rather than trying to save something after a tragedy occurs, it's better to prepare in advance. Jason was a little surprised to hear Nick Fury's words. He hadn't thought about Nick Fury's thoughts. Come to think of it, he and Tony Stark are ordinary people after all. Ordinary people are inherently afraid of people with super abilities. Nick Fury thinks so, and he can understand it, as long as their goals are inhibited. I didn't consider this aspect, but I still don't agree with some of your ideas. But I won't interfere with your behavior. I will only tell you the information you need. You can judge the rest for yourself. And the Avengers, I won't be involved. I can at most help you, but my fees are very expensive. Jason looked at Nick Fury, all smiles on his face. Chapter 107 Exchange. Please order in full. Please customize. Nick Fury looked at Jason in front of him. I feel that his understanding of the 3 words shameless has deepened. Listen, is this human language? His lover hasn't paid yet. No need, Nick Fury said coldly. Mexico, Jason said rather nonchalantly. Are you sure you don't need my help? Jason looked at Nick Fury with a smile. Nick Fury's face suddenly darkened. Fortunately, the color on the face is relatively dark, so it is difficult to see. He has never been in such a situation. At a disadvantage everywhere. In fact, he knew nothing about Jason. But Jason knew a lot about S.H.I.E.L.D., especially the matter of Mexico. As soon as the S.H.I.E.L.D. got the news, just block it there. A forward base was even established locally. Logically speaking, it should be impossible for this news to leak out. But Jason just knew it, which made Nick Fury feel defeated. What do you know? You found a hammer and you have no clue, right? Jason smiled and said, Mjolnir. It was an artifact that Odin collected the core of the Death Star and gave it to the dwarf family, and then received Odin's blessing. Except for Kungina in Odin's hand, probably the most powerful artifact in Asgard. In the universe, these are among the best weapons. It is not easy for people on Earth to study this thing, but he knew it very well. This is the essence of negotiation. Nick Fury took a deep breath after hearing Jason's words. This thing falling from the sky made him feel terrified. The unknown is the scariest thing. Humans are never afraid of powerful enemies. What they fear is the fear of the unknown. Mjolnir, for S.H.I.E.L.D. It's something unknown. Mjolnir looks man-made at first glance, and they don't even have the strength to lift this thing. Nick Fury is hard to imagine. If a civilization with such weapons wants to attack the Earth, how should they resist? His trump card is Captain Marvel, which is pretty good. But the Captain is always in the universe. He didn't know how far away from the Earth it was, and it was impossible for him to call Captain Fantastic back for such a trivial matter. so he was extremely panicked. Now that Jason told him that there was a way to understand this thing, it was hard for him to refuse. Okay, I can sign a contract with you. You can become a special advisor to S.H.I.E.L.D. You can receive your salary every year at S.H.I.E.L.D. Do you think I'm short of money? I need permission to purchase supplies from S.H.I.E.L.D. If I helped you S.H.I.E.L.D., I would like some special supplies, Jason said flatly. The strength of a large organization is very powerful, unless you reach the level of strength that one person can destroy a country. Otherwise, it would be impossible for an individual to confront the state. Organizations like S.H.I.E.L.D., if you really want to target someone, everything can be investigated clearly. Even your behavioral habits and details of your actions can be analyzed. This is especially true in terms of materials. All the minerals on Earth are available in S.H.I.E.L.D., not to mention the various alien products they collected. These things are what Jason covets the most. If he could obtain the crystallization of alien technology, he might be able to reverse engineer many technologies, get more advanced materials. This is the fundamental reason why he cooperated with S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't rush to agree. The research I'm talking about is not just ordinary things, including the things in your special bases, Jason said slowly. Nick Fury is a very cool guy. After taking power, he built several secret bases. Launch alien weapons into the sun-destroying base Slingshot, a base sandbox that stores physical weapons, metaphysical substances, and various unknown items that can be used. The 4 bases where super-ability criminals are imprisoned are islands, domes, cubes, and mansions. The prison where Captain America is imprisoned has 3 other S.H.I.E.L.D.s of the same size. Just ask you if you are afraid. Jason has already been salivating over these. Go in and take a spin. He felt like he could beat Thanos. Hear Jason say that. Nick Fury said flatly. Impossible. Nothing is impossible, Director Nick Fury. You can use those things yourself. Why can't I? You don't even have a PhD. Why do you think I'm not as good as you S.H.I.E.L.D. people in research? Nick Fury spat out a mouthful of old blood. What's wrong with not having a PhD? He has undergone special training. I know a lot of things. What does it mean? See Nick Fury unmoved. Not to mention anything else. Are your things as dangerous as my steel battlesuit? Jason glanced at Nick Fury disdainfully, although there was no expression on Nick Fury's face. But I sighed in my heart. S.H.I.E.L.D'S special base does have a lot of useful things. What alien weapons, alien corpses, and some weird items. A metal that will petrify a person upon contact. A crystal lotus that will kill someone at a glance. These things are dangerous though, but most of them are not as destructive as the Jason steel armor. Seeing Nick Fury move him, Jason spoke. If possible, I can exchange the technology of steel armor with you, including energy systems? Nick Fury said silently. Including energy systems. Jason nodded. Although the steel armor is advanced, but it's not impossible for Marvel's scientists to replicate it. For example, engineers from Stark Industries developed Iron Overlord themselves. They really can't make it. It is a small arc reactor, like the Bald Eagle military. They owned War Machine and reverse engineered it. But the military still only has one armor. It's because there's no way to replicate the reactor. Nick Fury asked this, which shows that he is the one who knows the business. I heard Jason agree so easily. Nick Fury hesitated instead. Why did you do that? This was what he suspected most. In his opinion, the technology contained in the steel armor is enough to change the entire human race. Light is an arc reactor. It can change the entire human energy system. Traditional energy sources will be eliminated, and it will not emit a lot of heat like a traditional nuclear reactor, cause the greenhouse effect. It's simply a perfect energy source. In his opinion, the value of this thing is even higher than that of a small country. Why was Jason able to hand this thing over so easily? This is something very incredible to him. So he was very confused, even doubting. Does Jason have any conspiracy? Are you trying to infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D. or something? Chapter 108 The Truly Precious Thing. Please order in full. Please customize. Why? Jason looked at Nick Fury with some confusion in his eyes. He didn't understand why Nick Fury asked this question. In his opinion, technology is something that should be exchanged in order to be valuable. Bernard Shaw once said, "You have one thought, and I have one thought. After we exchange, we both have 2 thoughts." According to Jason, the same is true for technology. Steel armor can be powerful, but isn't what S.H.I.E.L.D. possesses amazing? S.H.I.E.L.D.'s possessing alien technology. In fact, the level of steel armor, there may be no one on Earth who can surpass it, but in the universe, it really is nothing. At the very least, Guardians of the Galaxy's rocket. He once mocked Tony Stark for his poor technical skills. In the universe, a rocket is just a modified object, an ordinary engineer. One can imagine. Tony Stark's skills are not outstanding in appearance. Avengers are truly awesome. The world mainly relies on Thor and Hulk. Therefore, Coulson does not think that the technology of steel armor is valuable. And isn't it supposed that science, as a thing, can only progress by constantly making progress? His skills come from the system. But he doesn't want to become a vassal of the system. If he can only rely on what the system gives him, what is the difference between him and a puppet? He should exploit the system, instead of letting the system take advantage of him. So he doesn't understand Nick Fury's thinking. Director Nick, why do you think I won't hand over this technology? This technology is so precious, Nick Fury said without saying anything. Oh, I see. Jason suddenly understood when he heard this. Maybe Iron Man's technology is nothing to him. He has various techniques, whether it's Extremis or Hulk strengthening potions. Its value is no less than that of steel armor. And he knows there are more advanced technologies in the universe. More importantly, he is a very confident person. He believes that even if Nick Fury gets his skills, he won't be able to surpass him. He will definitely be able to develop more advanced technology. Maybe after giving it to Nick Fury, you can also get inspiration from other people's armors. Isn't this a good thing? It's a joke that I cherish my broom. Nick Fury, why do you think this technology is valuable? You must have been to the universe, right? You have seen the Kree warships. You have seen the Skrull warships. Why do you think this thing is advanced? Jason couldn't understand it. Why would a person who has seen a space battleship feel that steel armor is advanced? Is it because I don't read enough? Or is it because of that crazy woman in Captain Marvel? Did she destroy the Kree fleet and make Nick Fury think that starships are nothing more than that? Hearing Jason ask this, Nick Fury was also confused. Why is this? Jason looked at the confused Nick Fury and sighed. This is the disadvantage of reading less. He simply doesn't understand what is truly powerful. He felt that the steel armor could break through factors at every turn and its combat effectiveness was very high. But he didn't know. This is for a civilization that colonizes the stars. This might be a spicy chicken. Kree warships are very powerful. Ronan the Accuser's flagship even crashed directly into the Nova Legion's atmosphere from space. Then there was no explosion. One can imagine how terrifying his material is. Nick Fury may have only seen the scene where Captain Fantastic directly destroyed the Kree battleship. He didn't know what it would take for me to do all this. Captain Marvel's powers come from infinite gems. Her body is no different than Thor after awakening. A woman who can fight a titan like Thanos in hand-to-hand combat. How could it be that simple? It's unfair to compare such perverts. Director Nick Fury, science can only progress by communicating with each other. I don't think you will suffer a loss by exchanging steel armor's technology for S.H.I.E.L.D. Why don't you agree? Can you promise not to abuse the power of those things? Nick Fury said. Why did I do that? If I want to rule the world, I will build tens of thousands of armors. Can you stop me? Since I have no reason at all, what are you worried about? Jason asked rhetorically. This is the unlikable part of Nick Fury. He doesn't trust anyone. He only believes in himself. You don't understand. The comfort of 7 billion people lies with us. S.H.I.E.L.D. I have to be cautious. Please give me flowers. Jason laughed disdainfully. Nick Fury, you are too arrogant. S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot protect the Earth. If it weren't for the Ancient One and Odin, after the Earth was discovered, it would definitely not be so safe. In ancient times, the Kree even used humans as material for biological experiments. Create the special warriors they need. It's the appearance of the Ancient One and Odin. This tragedy was avoided. S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot do this. Things they do more to maintain world peace. Solve some ordinary people with special abilities and prevent them from harming society. S.H.I.E.L.D. does this really well. But protect the Earth. Never mind. Forget it. You won't believe it if I tell you these things. 0. Your horizons will only be limited to the Earth. Time will tell. I ask you whether you agree with my proposal. Nick Fury looked at Jason with his one eye. After a while, he just said it. I can agree with you to purchase resources from S.H.I.E.L.D. After you help us solve the problem. I can also approve some special resources. But special items, that's okay too. Jason nodded reluctantly. People like Nick Fury are not moved by words. He won't really change unless he goes through something. Can get this result. Jason feels it is already very good. The asking price is sky high, so just sit back and pay back. If you don't offer a higher price, how can you negotiate the price? If he had proposed this exchange in the first place, Nick Fury, an old fox, would definitely not agree. It's good now. He won't have to worry about resources anymore. Then let's sign the contract. Nick Fury took out the contract he brought. This is a contract with S.H.I.E.L.D. Consultants. Basically, he helps S.H.I.E.L.D. solve some problems that S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot solve. He can obtain certain resources in exchange. Nick Fury has already prepared such a contract. Jason could only sigh. S.H.I.E.L.D. is indeed S.H.I.E.L.D. It had been analyzed in advance that he would propose this kind of deal. The power of large organizations is truly incredible. I signed the contract with great surprise. Only then did the two of them relax. Chapter 109, The Strength of Asgard. Please order the full version. Please customize it. Wait until the S.H.I.E.L.D. confidentiality contract is signed. Nick Fury put away. He just asked. Now can you tell me about the hammer? Jason took a sip of coffee first. He said slowly. Have you ever heard of Asgard? Asgard? You mean, in the legend, The gods in Norse mythology? Nick Fury said with a frown. So be it. What does it mean? Nick Fury asked. It is true that Asgard in Norse mythology, but this Asgard does exist. Rather than saying that they are mythical gods, it is better to say that they are aliens. Jason spoke. Alien? That's right. Not all legends on Earth are false. There are many legends, but they all have the origin of 620. The legendary god King Odin in Norse mythology is real. I don't know how many light years away from us, there is a planet named Asgard. The Vanir clan lives above. They are different from us Earthlings. Asgardians not only possess superior technology, but also possess the power of magic. In a sense, they are indeed gods compared to us Earthlings. And the hammer in Mexico is the artifact of the Asgard people. You must have heard of Jonah, Thor's stooge. Nick Fury listened to Jason's words. The expression on his face was uncertain, and there was no expression on his face. Although he thought this matter was very ridiculous. Whether it's an Asgardian or a legendary god, it all made him unbelievable. However, he didn't think Jason would lie on this issue. There is a question. The people of Asgard are who knows how many light years away from us. How did they get Mjolnir here? Definitely because of Bifrost. Jason said enviously. Bifrost, Asgard's most powerful artifact, can draw power from all of Asgard and travel through space. It can span an unknown number of light years in a matter of minutes. Jason was very envious. The Bifrost is said to be a huge road connecting Midgard, that is, Earth and Asgard. It's called the Rocking Road to Heaven. Actually, in my opinion, this is a very powerful space shuttle device, able to teleport anything from Asgard to Earth in minutes. Jason explained to Nick Fury. Anything? Including people? Nick Fury said with a frown. Yes, including people. You are right, they can deploy their troops to any place on the Earth in an instant. But you don't need to worry at all. What do you mean? No need to worry? He's almost dying of anxiety. Now Nick Fury even wants to go back and build an organization immediately. See how you can stop being invaded. An alien race that can deploy its own army to Earth at any time. He was really worried. I mean, there's no point in worrying about it. If Asgard wanted to take over Earth, it wouldn't need an army at all. Odin can take over the Earth by himself. You don't understand how terrifying a strong man like Odin can be. You may think that Captain Marvel is powerful enough, but in front of Odin, she is nothing. Jason shook his head. I think Nick Fury is a bit ignorant and fearless. It goes without saying how powerful Odin is. The lifespan of an average Asgardian is only about 5,000 years. But what about Odin? He has lived for at least 500,000 years. What a concept. Before humans appeared, Odin already exists. Moreover, when he was old and frail. In the entire universe, there is still no civilization that dares to face Asgard's army. This was after Odin's Valkyrie army was basically all killed by Hela, and Odin was alone. Just guard all the star fields of Asgard. Except the giants of Jotunheim dare to jump. No other force dared to happen. Such a cosmic giant. Nick Fury wants to guard against him. It's so naive. Do you think we need to be on guard against this kind of person? No matter how powerful the Asgardians are, if they want to invade the Earth, I will definitely resist to the end. Nick Fury said coldly. Come on, my director Nick. Earth was the territory of Asgard in ancient times. To be honest, the Earth can't develop like this without the protection of Asgard. Jason shook his head. And what are you resisting with? The Bifrost is more than just a teleporter. That's a Star Destroyer weapon. Bifrost is more than just a teleporter. Still Asgard's most powerful weapon. By absorbing the power of Asgard, this thing can destroy planets. Loki had wanted to rely on Bifrost. Directly destroy the planet of giants of Jotunheim. If it weren't for the old man Odin trying to protect his own image, the giants of Jotunheim have long since perished. Human beings, on the other hand, do not yet have the ability to travel across the planet. I don't even know where the coordinates of Asgard are. Why should you resist others? All nuclear weapons on Earth explode. It will not have any impact on the Earth originally. The only thing that can be destroyed is mankind itself. Compared to a civilization capable of destroying the planet, the force of the Earth is not worth mentioning. Not to mention, Asgard has no intention of attacking humans. As early as ancient times, Asgard became the sovereign state of the Earth. But beyond protecting the planet, they didn't ask for a donation or anything else. This crazy civilization. Nick Fury didn't want to make friends, but was ready to have a chance encounter with him. Is your brain not working well? Jason had so much on his mind. Nick Fury was shocked by Jason's other words. Star Destroyer weapon? Yes. Is there anything surprising about 1.2? Is it abnormal for a civilization that controls a huge territory to have such a thing? So, it doesn't make any sense for you to be on guard against others now. It's better to maintain a good relationship with them first. As far as I know, the eldest prince of Asgard seems to have arrived on Earth. What? Nick Fury's voice has changed. Long after Jason told him about Asgard's strength, he was extremely afraid of this civilization. I have always regarded Asgard as my imaginary enemy. See if Earth has a chance to win. But after his calculations, it seems that Earth's chance of winning is not very high. So, Jason is absolutely right. You need to maintain a good relationship with Asgard first. Now Jason told him again. The eldest prince of Asgard arrives on Earth. How could he not be surprised? Chapter 110, Thinking Too Much. Please order in full. Please customize. Nick Fury felt heartbroken. Things he knew today. Each one was more shocked than the other. First the aliens, then Asgard. There is also a strong military strength. All this frightened Nick Fury. But now, Jason actually told him that the eldest prince of Asgard came to Earth. Do you know what this means? Please don't know if something happens to the eldest prince of Asgard on Earth. Will it cause a very serious diplomatic dispute? Nick Fury said, a little crazy. They bald eagle people don't know what diplomatic disputes are. As the most powerful country on Earth, it's all other countries that worry about this. Now he finally realized the feeling of fear. A weak country has no diplomacy. You are overthinking this diplomatic dispute. Director Nick Fury, that's Thor. Do you know what Thor means? As long as you don't have anything to do, use a nuclear bomb to blow him up. I don't think there's a force on Earth that can threaten him. Jason rolled his eyes and said, why are the Asgard royal family always 2016 and his family? It's not because Odin is some kind of holy emperor. It's not because Odin's family is full of geniuses. Look at that idiot, look like Thor. Where does he look like a king? The reason why Odin's family is able to rule Asgard is because their family is strong enough. Even if he seems to have a low IQ, Thor is also very funny. After awakening, Force can fight Thanos directly. He even chopped off Thanos' head with an axe. Even if he becomes decadent and becomes a fat house, still the absolute mainstay of the Avengers. It can also resist fixed starlight exposure. After fighting for more than 1,500 years, we encountered countless enemies. Thor didn't even break his arms or legs. Why would Nick Fury think there would be a problem with such a guy? Director Nick Fury, don't think so much. The relationship between Asgard and us is not that simple. Asgard will not attack Earth if it has nothing to do. You don't have to worry about anything when I come to Earth this time. After he has dealt with his own affairs, he will naturally leave on his own. And this is not something we can get involved in. This is the battle for Asgard's inheritance. Jason spoke. To be honest, it is not that accurate to say that it is a battle to seize the inheritance. To be precise, it's a shield that Odin is training. He obviously knew that his end was coming. I can't protect my two children like before. Now begins to pave the way for Thor. But what they didn't expect was, his son will be like that. It would be inappropriate to leave the good Asgard prince alone. Come to Earth and be a superhero. I don't want to go back yet. Until Odin died, his sister killed everyone in Asgard. In the huge Asgard, there is only a boatload of old, weak, sick and disabled people left. Thor just started to grow. The growth effect is just not very good. As for now, Thor is still an arrogant bastard. He didn't think it was a good idea to contact Thor. But Nick Fury obviously doesn't think so. Looking at his eyes, you can tell that this bald one-eyed dragon is planning some conspiracy. But Jason didn't think he could succeed. In the face of absolute strength, intrigue are completely useless. Even the destroyer sent to Earth by Loki to kill Thor, unless the people on Earth come up with nuclear bombs, they probably won't be able to defeat this kind of war weapon. Nick Fury, I have no control over what you plan. But be careful not to bring disaster to the Earth. You have done this kind of thing not once or twice. Don't always think about controlling things you can't control. Even if your purpose is to protect mankind, doing so is no different from those conspirators. Nick Fury glanced at Jason and said nothing. Jason also sneered. You'd better not make any small moves. You wouldn't naively think that there is a developed cosmic civilization. You don't have any investigative methods, do you? I'm afraid everything you do will fall into Odin's eyes. If you really anger Odin, Asgard will call you. You are the sinner of mankind. Hearing this, Nick Fury trembled. Asgard can monitor the Earth. Their monitoring capabilities are much better than you think. At least your underground base cannot be hidden from others, Jason said with a sneer. A big muscle tyrant like Thanos who is not proficient in magic. Nick Fury's actions can all be detected. Why can't Heimdall, who is responsible for monitoring the 9 realms, see this? I'm afraid that whatever Nick Fury does will fall into his eyes. This is the most powerful henchman of the Odin family. It would be nice if Nick Fury was more friendly. If it's really some kind of conspiracy discovered by Odin, even if he doesn't hit the Earth, it will also cause a lot of trouble. Nick Fury is better off being honest. He even began to regret telling Nick Fury these things now. Nick Fury looked serious when he saw Jason. He also spoke up. I'm measured. You're so measured. Jason yelled. You went to study the Tesseract. What a fool. I cursed Nick Fury in my heart. Then he started talking. I don't care what you think. I'm going back there. No, Nick Fury subconsciously objected. I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm informing you, Jason said with a sneer. Nick Fury took a deep breath. Calm down quickly. You can go. But you can't interfere with S.H.I.E.L.D'S operations. I'm not interested. I just want to meet the Asgardians. Maybe there will be a fight, Jason added in his mind. He wanted to try it. Hulk can be inseparable from Thor. Can he? For the martial Asgardians anyway. There's nothing wrong with beating Thor up. Maybe they will respect you even more. Besides, he might be able to extract some skills from Thor. So he must leave this time. Nick Fury saw Jason's attitude. I felt a little annoyed. But there is something helpless. He thinks about too many things. It was impossible to do anything to Jason. Now I can only suffer a little loss in terms of face. In that case, you better go. However, You are responsible for protecting the safety of our S.H.I.E.L.D. employees. Nick Fury thought about it and said, no problem. Jason agreed immediately. But it will cost more, Jason said succinctly. Nick Fury was almost pissed off. I didn't go there to be a nanny. I advise you to withdraw the agents and residents there, then send the army. This is probably your only chance in this life to test Asgard's strength. Chapter 111 Contact. Please order in full. Please customize. Although Jason has seen Mjolnir in the movie, but in fact, this thing is much more handsome than Jason imagined, and it's really heavy. Jason didn't believe it and went up to try it. It is true that this thing cannot be lifted by pure strength, and the material is very strong. He fired several shots without any change. He even wants to try laser cutting on his fingers. However, he was stopped directly by Phil Coulson. Mr. Jason, that's not necessary. If something happens, I can't explain it. Phil Coulson's tone was full of resentment. Their S.H.I.E.L.D. scientists study this thing. That's a caution. Looking at Jason. If he doesn't stop it. Not sure what to use. He really couldn't stand it anymore. Jason smiled awkwardly. He was sure that his operation had no effect on Mjolnir at all. It has Odin's blessing on it. If Odin hadn't died, Hela might not be able to crush this thing. His operation was nothing more than a small fuss. Phil Coulson agent, this is a destructive test. A destructive test, explained. Jason started his normal analysis with S.H.I.E.L.D'S equipment. He performed spectral analysis, proton analysis, thermal difference analysis, etc. on Mjolnir. I want to analyze the structure of this thing through this. Pity. Useless. The atomic structure of this thing was much more stable than he thought. The spectra and rays in existing scientific facilities cannot penetrate its structure, something that is reflected back. There is no information to analyze. It is indeed very troublesome for scientists to analyze this thing. Jason suspected that this was a material that reached at least the quark level in terms of observation. It is still difficult to study this thing now. It is indeed a civilization that can dominate the universe. The people of Asgard also have space battleships. The level of technological development is not low either. The highest crystallization of their civilization. It's not something that can be reproduced so easily. Let Skynet record the measured data. Jason turned around and left. Phil Coulson agent, is there a small town nearby? Yes, it's 2 kilometers from here. Although Phil Coulson didn't know why Jason asked, he still answered. Nick Fury asked him to follow Jason's orders on certain things. This made him very confused. It even seems like Jason bribed Nick Fury with money. Otherwise, why would you send Jason here? This is completely amateurish. I muttered a few words in my heart. Phil Coulson had a big smile on his face. Mr. Jason, what's wrong? Is there any problem? No problem. Come on, I'll take you to meet the owner of this hammer. With that said, Jason took the lead and walked outside. Phil Coulson quickly followed with several agents. He was afraid that Jason would get into some big trouble. A group of people drove S.H.I.E.L.D'S special car to the town closest to the hammer. S.H.I.E.L.D. makes sense after all. Although Thor broke into the military restricted area and injured an agent, S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't do anything to him after all. After a few words of education, just put it back. Therefore, at the moment Thor, the eldest prince of Asgard, according to Skynet, he was still drinking in the town. There is no trace of the appearance of his recently deceased father. The most important, it was still Jane's money. Jason didn't know what to say anymore. All I can say is that 8 people oxension. Pushing open the door of the bar, Jason and his party filed in. The whole bar fell silent for a moment. Dr. Jane, who was sitting in the corner, quickly saw Jason and his group, especially Phil Coulson who was following Jason. His eyes were full of vigilance. Wait until Jason walks in front of her. Only then did she confirm that Jason and the others were indeed here to find her. What do you want to do? Didn't you take away my research results? What else are you doing? Miss Jane, I'm not here to find you. Please be quiet. Jason is not someone who can't stop walking when he sees a beautiful woman. Moreover, Jason feels that Jane's assistant is not as good looking as her assistant. Therefore, Jason didn't give this woman a good look. Midgedians, what do you want to do? Jason hasn't let Jane leave yet. Thor next to him had already spoken loudly. The beer in his hand hit the table. Staring hard at Jason, he looked back at the people in the bar. The surrounding drinkers had been dispersed. Jason then spoke. Thor, an Asgardian. I am God. I am a god from Asgard. Thor said with some displeasure. The tone was very unhappy. God, can you fly? Jason asked directly. If I hadn't lost my divine power. Thor's eyes widened and he did not continue. Jason pouted. Thor is too naive, even according to the age of Asgardians. He is equivalent to a person in his 30s. As a result, he still looks like a child. No precautions at all. But yes, in his eyes, there is probably no one worth guarding against. Okay, Your Highness Thor, why did you come to Earth? Aren't you supposed to be the eldest prince of Asgard? Jason was too lazy to say anything and asked directly. pretending not to know. Hear this. Thor's eyes darkened. I was banished by my father. Exile. Interesting. Jason smiled. So, you might not be able to go back? Hearing this, the expression on Wanger's face became even more ugly. News brought to him by Loki. His father is dead. Naturally, no one in Asgard can let him go back. Even Heimdall doesn't have this right. Because Thor was very disappointed about this. About his father. He was extremely regretful. Li's. Her face naturally looks good. The expression on Thor's face was not good to see. Jason laughed. I wonder, what are your plans for the future, Your Highness Thor? You won't stay in this small town for the rest of your life, right? You know, there are many good things on the earth. Thor looked up at Jason. I always felt that there was some evil intention on his face. What do you want to do? Let me introduce myself. I am the heir to the Wayne Group, Jason Wayne. We at Wayne Group are the largest philanthropic group for Bald Eagle. If His Highness Thor needs it, our Wayne Group can definitely provide some help. Thor was about to say something. He was stopped directly by Dr. Jian. What do you Wayne Group want? Thor is actually just an ordinary person, and his is just nonsense. Hear what Jane said. The smile on Jason's face grew even brighter. Chapter 112, Deceit. Please order the full version. Please customize it. Jason has always been a guy who can't afford to be early without profit. He came to Mexico so diligently. Also got in touch with Thor. It's not for charity, but to gain benefits. Asgard is a fairly advanced civilization, although they are taking the path of magic and cultivating personal power. But that doesn't mean they don't have technology. On the contrary, Asgard is in contact with the outside world. Their technology is still quite advanced, such as medical technology and spacecraft technology. They are very advanced. Jason came here just for this. Thor, this guy, looks silly, but people will be reincarnated. He is the Prince of Asgard. Maybe Odin is watching him at this time. He gets in touch with Thor. Sooner or later I will be able to come into contact with more Asgardians. When the time comes, there will be great potential. So helping Thor now would be beneficial without any harm. Thor might make a small profit, but he will never lose. I saw Dr. Jane with a vigilant face in front of me, and Thor with a sperm-like brain in front of me. A smile appeared on Jason's face. Dr. Jane, what you said is wrong. Never treat others as fools. You are not the only one in this world who has researched Asgard's Bifrost. I can be sure of Thor's identity. Stop doing this. As for His Highness Thor, don't worry, we will never do anything bad to him. We Earthlings are a peace-loving race. We must treat alien friends like His Highness Thor well. Jason told lies with his eyes open and his mouth opened. Jane is not as innocent as Thor, and because the research results were taken away, she has a distrust of government. But now, it seems that Jason is acting very mildly, not at all as vicious as the bald man behind him. In addition, the reputation of the Wayne family is very good among the people, she said tentatively. Since you say so, can you return my research results to me? Definitely, it's all small things. Jason smiled. Phil Coulson agent, I think it is very unethical to confiscate other people's research results. What do you think? Although Phil Coulson wanted to spit directly in Jason's face, but Nick Fury has an explanation. Plus Jane's research results. To be honest, there's really nothing of value, so it's okay to give it back to them. Therefore, Phil Coulson agreed half-heartedly. Okay, Mr. Jason, I will return the scientific research materials to Miss Jane. Jason nodded with satisfaction. He looked back at Jane. How is it, Dr. Jane? Are you satisfied? Jane nodded hesitantly. There was still some doubt on Jane's face. Jason said with a smile, Dr. Jane, I have a proposal. I know that Dr. Jian is quite accomplished in outer space and energy research. Why don't you join our Wayne Group? I can give you 100 million in research funding every year, and then you have your own independent laboratory. Wayne Group will not interfere with your normal research. Definitely, you must bring His Highness Thor with you. What do you think? Hear Jason say that. Jane swallowed. She admitted that she was moved. If it weren't for Thor, she would have agreed directly. Although she is a doctor, but the research has been fruitless. Therefore, it is always difficult to attract investment. My life depends entirely on my salary from the university. This amount of money is just enough to survive, and it is impossible to do research. She is reluctant to buy good instruments. Now that Jason suddenly proposed this condition, how could she not be moved? But she also knew that these benefits did not come without a price. So she asked, what do I have to give? Dr. Jane, you made a wrong question. I'm not paying this money just for you. Besides, this is just a small amount of money. You don't have to worry at all. Tkfer, Jason explained. Jane immediately felt slighted, and then quickly gave in. Nothing else. Jason gave too much. What is the concept of $100 million? The annual research expenses of top universities and top laboratories like MIT are only about this amount. That's just the cost of a lab. Only a fool would refuse. Mr. Jason, you have to promise me not to harm Thor. Jason laughed directly when he heard this. Dr. Jane, you are thinking too much. Why should I be disadvantageous to His Highness Thor? Leaving aside the possible diplomatic disputes, what are the benefits of us being unfavorable to Thor? You are also a scientific researcher. Do you think we will perform an autopsy on Thor? Hearing this, Jane was also a little embarrassed. She has a natural distrust of government and big business, But think about it. If the Wayne group wanted to be disadvantageous to Thor, they would not waste so much saliva. She can't stop people from doing whatever they want. Even if you want to study Thor, it is impossible to dissect this only living body. At most, I can get some hair, draw some blood, and do an examination. Unless Thor dies, no scientific group will kill precious living bodies. Even good food and drink should be offered. A little monitoring is possible. Only a fool would believe that there is such a thing as an anatomy study. I thought about it for a long time. Jane really couldn't imagine what a large enterprise like Quinn Group would do to her, pursuing her beauty. Do not be silly. She still has some ideas. Isn't that Playboy magazine cover girl better than her? Okay, let's sign the contract. Dr. Jian thought for a while and said, "This is the smart choice. A pleasure to work with." Jason smiled and said, "A pleasure to work with." Jane stretched out her hand, and Jason was in touch. At the same time, I made up my mind to find some time to investigate Jason's background. Wait until the contract is signed. Jason then gave Thor a bright smile. "Your Highness Thor, I wonder if you can provide us with some tissue or hair." Thor shuddered. "Don't even think about it." "Your Highness Thor, do you know how many kinds of ale there are on Earth?" "From what I know, there are at least 1,000 kinds. And Earth has much more delicious food than Asgard," Jason said casually. "In terms of combat effectiveness, Asgard may be stronger than Earth, but in terms of entertainment, thousands of Asgard are no match for Earthlings." Loki pretends to be a king and can only watch the drama. It can be seen from this that Asgard's entertainment is lacking. At most, it is equivalent to medieval Europe. As for food and wine, that would be even worse. What an ordinary person eats today is at the level of an ancient emperor. How does Asgard compare? As expected. As soon as Jason finished speaking, Thor just swallowed. He suddenly felt that there was nothing terrible about providing some tissue and hair. Chapter 113 The Ignorant Thor. Please order the full version. Please customize it. Jason is a very rich guy. In order to let Thor wait 2 more days in this town, Jason bought a house directly in town. The people of Asgard will definitely not leave Thor alone, especially some of his friends. Even violating Asgard's ban by passing the Bifrost came to Earth. Loki will also rule out the Destroyer from pursuing Thor. This stuff makes Jason very greedy. This kind of puppet is created using high-end magic. The combat effectiveness is very strong. It's Asgard's war machine. If he can copy it through the system, that is really developed. In his opinion, magic is nothing but energy. Since it is energy, we can use the scientific calendar to power the temple. Tony Stark was able to build anti-Thor armor. You can also use the thunder summoned by Thor. There's no reason why he can't. Not to mention, several of Thor's friends are much stronger than Thor in his opinion. At least I know a lot of things. He might also be able to find something good. Therefore, he must make his friends from Asgard feel at home. Chatted with Thor and the others for a while. Jason left the tavern. Phil Coulson also returned Dr. Jane's things to her. However, he was quite critical of this. "Mr. Jason, why did you give this back to her? What if it leaks out and causes chaos?" Jason heard this. There was no rebuttal. Bald eagles are the lower class people who are proud of their lack of intelligence. Drinking bleach and disinfectant can become a fashion. If we knew they really were aliens, that would be okay. Phil Coulson is also right about this. Don't worry, Phil Coulson. Dr. Jane is not a fool. Will you publicize your research results everywhere? What's more, Dr. Jian is just an ordinary astrophysicist. Her research results are of little value. Jason shook his head. Astrophysics. To say it is valuable, it can be considered valuable, but you can tell what research results they can produce. That's really not necessarily the case. This subject is more like astronomy than physics. The most famous astrophysicist is probably Hawking. Among the people, his popularity is very high. But in physics, to put it bluntly, Hawking can only be regarded as a younger brother. His contribution is more in the field of science popularization. There is nothing commendable about real theoretical research. Even Hawking did not have any groundbreaking research. One can imagine Jane Foster. Her research is more like discovering the connections between the 9 kingdoms. But the connection between the 9 kingdoms is entirely based on the world tree. It's magic, but it's not scientific at all. So, Jason wasn't worried at all. What bad consequences will there be if Jane Foster takes her research back? It was his teacher instead, Eric Selvig. There are still many things to master. This old man is the main force in researching Tesseract, worth a lot of Jason's attention. Phil Coulson didn't know what Jason was thinking. Although I thought there was something wrong with what Jason did, he still didn't say much. Is that Thor really an alien? Half a day later, Phil Coulson asked, still a little curious. That's right. Didn't S.H.I.E.L.D. study that hammer? That's obviously not a creation of the Earth. Hear Jason say that. Phil Coulson nodded. I didn't expect there to be aliens. But, Mr. Jason, what do you mean? Why are you so nice to this guy? What do you think? Don't S.H.I.E.L.D. have any ideas? Jason looked at Phil Coulson with a half smile and said. He saw S.H.I.E.L.D.'s agent quietly collecting his hair. Thor's blood is probably also collected by S.H.I.E.L.D. Now what is Phil Coulson saying here? Has S.H.I.E.L.D. collected enough alien corpses yet? You don't have to do less research, right? He collected this thing himself just as a formality. Research can't find anything. Wouldn't it be nice for other systems to provide technology? S.H.I.E.L.D. is really something that needs to be studied hard. Maybe we should do some experiments. Plus they have Hydra within. Maybe something can happen. Phil Coulson, go back and tell Nick Fury that the Asgardians are not like the creepy people he has. People have mastered the method of coming to the Earth in an instant. Better be careful when doing research. 2 reminders. Jason no longer wanted to talk to Phil Coulson. Left directly. ... Please give me flowers. He already had the information prompted by the system in his mind. Returning to his newly purchased house in this small town, Jason began to review the information in his mind. Get in touch with the plot characters. Technology extraction in progress. Due to your sensor authority, you can choose among the following technologies. How to make Asgard gold nail. Illustrated book of creatures in subdimensional space. Small anti-gravity subsonic craft. Jason was confused when he saw this. Then he cursed in his heart. Thor, this bastard, is really ignorant. You, the eldest prince of Asgard, want to learn how to brew beer? He is indeed a naughty kid, doing nothing but business. Subdimensional space biological illustration. What's the use of this thing? ... 0. Can the creatures near Asgard be the same as those near Earth? The few subdimensional spaces near the Earth are not places for humans to stay, especially the hell that Mephitos controls. That's not a good place to be. Although Mephitos is not as good as the Ancient One, he is definitely on the same level as Thanos. Did he go looking for death? Moreover, the Earth simply does not have many stable subdimensional space tunnels. How does he get there? This thing Thor prescribes is completely useless. Only the last small anti-gravity one is worth seeing. But, Jason thought, it's not because Thor knows how to make it. Maybe it's because Thor destroyed too much to be able to open it. But it's better than nothing. At least the anti-gravity technology is pretty good, as long as he masters it. This thing can definitely be used on the space carrier. Thus, the aerospace carrier can be greatly improved in terms of flexibility and load carrying ability. It can also be used as artificial gravity in space. To know, although the space carrier can be used in the universe, it still cannot sail long distances. The big reason is that it doesn't have its own gravity system. After humans adapted to the Earth's gravity environment suddenly into space, it is easy to suffer from many diseases. Now there's this anti-gravity system. Everything will work out, as long as you can master the long-distance jump engine. Then find a star map from Asgard. He might be able to enter the universe. This time it's different. All of a sudden. 4. Chapter 114 Asgard Warriors. Please order the full version. Please customize. Gravity is a very magical force. This force is based on gravity. Human beings still have no research on it. Even gravity. Human beings have no understanding of it either. Although Jason is with the help of the system, ability to manipulate gravity to a certain extent, but it is really difficult for him to develop anti-gravity equipment. The real thing is that the study of gravity is very difficult. In most science fiction works, all spacecraft have begun to use centrifugal force to replace the gravity system. Like in the movie The Wandering Earth, the space station where the protagonist sits, there is a ring of very large weights, just to provide enough centripetal force to simulate gravity. Therefore, Star-Lord's ship can continuously shuttle through the universe, a spaceship that also has its own gravity system. In fact, it is very advanced. 147. Jason was able to get this anti-gravity ship. He was naturally very happy. Moreover, this small spacecraft has more than just anti-gravity technology, such as remote communication, detection, weapons and other systems. They are all very instructive. After Jason got this technology, get addicted immediately. Know that Phil Coulson is looking for someone to inform him. Mr. Jason, 4 more Asgardians have arrived in the town. When Jason heard this, his eyes lit up. How many more came? Thor, a guy who only knows how to fight and cause trouble, can use these skills. Aren't his men more powerful? There are 4 of Thor's men. One is Sif. The wife Odin and his wife have chosen for Thor. Asgard is second only to Valkyrie's female warriors. Fighting ability is very strong. Another Hogun from Vanaheim, one of the 3 warriors of Asgard, has the ability to heal. There are unique medicines with powerful effects. There is also a warrior Fandral who is good at swordsmanship and often calls himself the best swordsman in Asgard. But Jason thinks it's mostly a lie. The last one is Volstagg. The one that can eat is very powerful in combat, and is considered very powerful among the warriors of Asgard. These 4 people all have their own things that they are good at. Although most of them are good at fighting skills, but maybe there are some secrets to blocking doors that others don't know. If Jason draws one, he will make a profit. Hear the news. Jason didn't bother researching anti-gravity technology. Follow Phil Coulson's agent directly to find these 3 Asgard warriors. If he remembers correctly, if you're lucky, Jason even gets to meet Loki. Meet Odin's artifact destroyer. This is another good opportunity to win prizes. He deserves to be rich today. Bring base OTU and excitement. Jason soon arrived at the house he had prepared for Thor. This is a single-family villa. Jason considered that this place might soon be in ruins, so it's quite a distance from town. On a private farm, Jason bought the farm directly at that time. Make it easy for people at S.H.I.E.L.D. to block information. Far away. Outside the door, Kunsen heard the cheerful shouts coming from the villa. It sounds like the gang is already inside drinking. Jason pushed the door open and walked in. Sure enough, I saw Thor and a few people changing cups, looking very happy. After seeing Jason come in, Thor immediately introduced it to the people of Asgard. This is what I call my friend from Midgard, Jason. Originally, Thor was quite critical of Jason. When treating Jason, he seemed quite arrogant. But after Jason provided countless beers, food, snacks, and various language measures, Thor immediately fell. After enjoying it for a while, Thor immediately made Jason his confidant. The look in his eyes could no longer be arrogant. Jason had to sigh. The money ability, which is passed down from the Wayne family, is really easy to use. After hearing Thor's introduction, the four Asgardians came up to speak. Jason also said with a smile, "You must be Miss Sif. Thor often talks about you and me. I have been long heard that Miss Sif is the strongest female warrior in the county palace. Looking at it now, it turns out that it really deserves its reputation." Jason understands the essence of adulthood. Even if you don't wear it 1,000 times, you won't wear flattery. I heard him say this. Jason's eyes immediately softened as Sif looked at him. I also heard Thor mention you. Thank you for taking care of Thor. Sif's monetization is very modest. She doesn't look like a female warrior from Asgard at all. Jason then followed the other 3 Asgard warriors in a passionate handshake. It made them a little surprised. I have always said that people in Midgard are very kind. Jason smiled but said nothing. What is passion? He wanted to make these people feel at home. It's best to stay on Earth reluctantly. As long as one of these 4 people explodes with technology, he will make a sure profit without losing any money. What's the point of paying some money? Under Jason's special guidance, everyone's atmosphere seemed very good. It was a happy scene. Just when Jason was about to teach these Asgardians how to drink, boom, there was a loud bang. Then the whole room lit up. The group of people looked up. The wooden roof and second floor were missing. Some of the wood was set on fire. Several S.H.I.E.L.D. agents rushed in directly. Mr. Jason, no. There's a monster outside. Jason knew it as soon as he heard it. It's Loki coming. Loki has been ignored since childhood. I saw several friends of Thor's friends still sticking with him after Thor made a mistake in answering the question. Start making lemonade right away. Plus Odin is adding fuel to the fire. Loki directly dispatched Asgard's highest war weapon, the Destroyer. This is Asgard's most powerful war weapon ordered by Odin. Can crush any substance, even though Thor seems to be fighting easily. But this thing is a battle armor, similar to his steel battle suit. The Destroyer is also a type of armor. The power is very powerful. Wearing this 1.8 armor, Odin can even challenge dozens of strong men of the same level as him. If Loki is not a remote control. In addition, Thor has Mjolnir, who is also blessed by Odin. We don't know what the real result will be. Therefore, Jason knew that this thing was a killing weapon. Immediately ordered several detectives. You retreat immediately and evacuate the people in the town. Enclose the entire area of 10,000 miles and prohibit any unrelated persons from entering. Seeing Jason speak very solemnly, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents did not dare to delay, turn around and leave, evacuating the crowd. Several Asgardians also came over and said, Jason, do you need any help? We in Asgard are trying to kill our friends. Hearing this, the corners of Jason's mouth twitched. Everyone, I'm afraid this is not our trouble. I think this thing outside may be aimed at you. Chapter 115 Battle. Please order the full version. Please customize it. The moment Jason finished speaking, several Asgardians across from him thought he was joking. Jason, we have no grudges on Earth. How could this be coming to us? Several Asgardians looked at each other and laughed. Jason looked at them and said in a faint tone, you really have no enemies on Earth. But that's not necessarily the case elsewhere. The things outside are not like the things on our Earth. How is it possible? Even in Asgard, I have no enemies. Fandral, who thought he was handsome, said with a smile. In Asgard he is a girl killer. He is also very gentle, and he doesn't think he has any enemies. Picking up the sword in his hand, Fandral walked out. The few remaining people were still laughing very happily. Thor shouted loudly. How long do you think it will take for Fandral to finish off the enemy? Whoever guesses wrong can't drink the ale. I bet he'll take 2 minutes. Volstagg and the others also responded loudly. 5 minutes. I guess 26 will come back in a few dozen seconds, Jason said in a faint tone. Don't be kidding. It's not possible. Thor just finished speaking. Only a loud click was heard outside. A man directly crushed the wooden house and broke it in. It was Fandral who was the target of their bet. What happened to Fandral? Thor saw Fandral flying in and heard the news. Several other Asgard warriors also went up and asked. It's the Destroyer. Fandral grinned and said, Destroyer, how is it possible? Several Asgardians were extremely shocked. Jason was also very shocked. The Asgard guys are really physically powerful. Being beaten in by the Destroyer, it's like nothing happened. If we were a human on Earth, all the bones in his body might be broken. It is indeed a race that can conquer a large territory in the universe and call itself a god. Jason was shocked in his heart. Thor over there was also full of disbelief. How is this possible? Only my father can control the Destroyer. But my father is dead. What? Odin is dead? Several Asgard warriors were also very shocked. Thor, where did you get the news? When we came, Odin was asleep, but he was still alive. Sif asked Thor. I heard Sif say this. Thor was confused. He didn't think Sif would lie to him. Someone between Loki and Sif must have lied. And who told the lie is actually clear at a glance. Loki. With a roar, Thor rushed out angrily. Then, within a few seconds, he flew back the way he came. The whole person is embedded directly into the wall. Fortunately, although Thor lost his divine power, but physical fitness has not declined. Still very powerful. Apart from being a little embarrassed after being beaten back, still lively and energetic. Thor, has your divine power recovered yet? It can't be the opponent of the Destroyer. Let's go and deal with him. You go and find your own power. Sif comforted Thor and walked out directly with the 3 Asgard warriors. Jason looked at Thor, who was lost in thought. He went up and comforted him. Thor, only if you find your divine power can you help. Imagine why you lost Mjolnir. He comforted Thor with a few words. Jason also walked out. Definitely. He didn't go out to fight the Destroyer, but came out to watch the fun. He was curious about the way Asgardians fought and how powerful Asgard's supreme war weapon is. Get out of the villa. Jason saw Asgard's most powerful weapon of destruction. The Destroyer is about 3 meters closer. The whole body is covered with silver-white metal. Under the metal skin, traces of flames surged. The head was even redder. At the moment, it was firing at several warriors in the immortal camp. The few warriors of Asgard could only run for their lives in the face of the Destroyer's powerful firepower. Fortunately, there are many barns and other buildings on this farm. A few people would not be beaten passively, but in Jason's opinion, they are still at a disadvantage. Although the body has no hands, it looks unusually embarrassed. Volstagg and several other Asgard warriors have very good fighting skills, but there is no place for it. He finally managed to rush forward by moving. The sword struck the Destroyer, but there wasn't even a spark. The person being destroyed was immediately knocked away. Maybe even get a laser shot. Fortunately, it seems that no one is controlling the Destroyer at the moment. Doesn't look very smart. I don't know the importance of last hit at all. I actually had a back and forth fight with a few of them. Sif obviously saw the Destroyer's slowness. Shouted loudly. Volstagg, Hogun, Fandral, attract its attention. The 3 Asgard warriors looked at each other. Hogun and Vandal square off. Come Volstagg. Volstagg swallowed. He quickly ran towards the 2 of them. Although Volstagg looks very bulky, but he has agility that doesn't match his size. He ran over quickly and stepped on the hands of 2 Asgard warriors. He just flew up. For Asgard, shouted all loudly. Volstagg rushed out. Pick up the axe in your hand and chop down the Destroyer. Only, the Destroyer is obviously much more agile than Volstagg. With one slap, Volstagg was directly pulled back from midair. That speed was faster than the speed at which he rushed forward. Fortunately, Asgardians are physically stronger. Volstagg was just lying on the ground moaning. Only this time, it was as if the Destroyer suddenly became smarter. I want to come up and hit the target. However, Sif behind it suddenly took action. This female warrior from Asgard, the god of war second only to Valkyrie. It is indeed not a simple role, jumping directly from the flat ground to a height of more than 3 meters. Holding the sword blessed by Odin, directly inserted into the head of the Destroyer. This is also the first time the Destroyer has done so since his arrival. The light on his head suddenly dimmed. Smiles appeared on the faces of the Asgard quartet. Only, they were not happy for long. The flame patterns on the Destroyer's body lit up again. Then a mechanical sound sounded on the Destroyer. The whole machine of the Destroyer seemed to turn over, front-facing backward. The laser on the head also started to point towards the back. Sif is already very fast though, but her sword got stuck in the Destroyer's body. This sword, blessed by Odin, was obviously very important to him. Therefore, it was delayed for a while. Don't be hit directly by the Destroyer's beam. The whole person flew into the sky. He fell hard to the ground. A large mouthful of blood spurted out directly. Chapter 116, Fight and Win. Please order in full. Please customize. The Destroyer is indeed one of the best artifacts in Asgard. The 3 warriors of Asgard, plus Sif. He is also one of the strongest in the entire Asgard, except for Heimdall who guards the gate and the missing female war goddess Valkyrie. This almost represents Asgard's highest combat power. But in front of the Destroyer, there is still nothing they can do. Several people directly lost their fighting ability, except that Vandal and Hogun are slightly better. Several other people seemed unable to stand up. The only people standing on the field were Jason and Thor, who secretly ran to help Xiao up. Only, although this guy Thor looks silly but very cunning, completely in the blind spot of the Destroyer's sight. Therefore, only Jason stood in front of the Destroyer openly. The Destroyer controlled by Loki looked directly at Jason. Do you believe me when I say I came here to watch the fun? Loki clearly didn't take his words seriously. Or, in Loki's eyes, the life and death of people on Earth may not matter at all. A blazing light glowed from the Destroyer's head. He shot straight at Jason. This kind of high-energy ray can explode, although it claims to be able to crush anything. But not under Odin's prompting. He is obviously not as powerful as imagined. The steel armor on Jason's arm rapidly shape-shifted. A shield appeared on his arm. This shield looks silvery white. It exudes a metallic light. He directly waited for the beam in the Destroyer's hand. However, Jason was pushed a few meters further. A long mark was drawn on the ground. I said I came here to watch the fun. Didn't you hear? Jason looked at the destroyer very annoyed. He knew that Loki was controlling the destroyer at the moment. He is fully capable of seeing everything happening on Earth, but he still chose to take action. I'm afraid that in his eyes, Jason's marriage doesn't matter at all. Like ants on the roadside, when you trample him to death, will you ask for his opinion? This is why Jason is angry. Loki had no intention of listening to Jason's tirade. Another ray shot over. Want to get rid of Jason. Only, this time he had no intention of resisting. He dodged the attack and rushed in front of the destroyer. Even the Asgardians present were stunned, barely keeping up with Jason's pace. Asgardians are not known for their speed. Loki over there also didn't react. Jason is so fast. The original muscles are extremely powerful, coupled with the medical phoenix jet from the nozzle under his feet. However, his quality has reached a very astonishing level. With huge kinetic energy, Jason hit the destroyer directly. Thorn tilde hash. A heart-wrenching sound sounded. It sounded like huge amounts of metal being torn apart, or like nails scratching across a blackboard. Extraordinarily harsh. Several Asgardians covered their ears. The destroyer is also in bad shape at the moment. The entire right leg was flattened. It seemed like it was squeezed by some huge force. Jason grinned beside him and rubbed his shoulders. It doesn't look like it's easy either. But even this scene, the few Asgardians nearby also looked at them as if they were monsters. Especially Thor, who lost his divine power. Some were stunned. Midgardians, when did you become so strong? In the eyes of the Asgardians, people on Earth are very fragile. Only a few people may be able to get their attention. Now look at Jason's performance. Thor felt that he had underestimated the guy in front of him. This kind of power is probably almost the same as him who has divine power. When Thor was stunned, Loki, who was far away in Asgard, also had his eyes widened. Impossible. A Midgardian. Passing the destroyer, Loki took a closer look at Jason. It should be because of this armor. He glanced at Jason sadly. Loki once again controls the destroyer to attack. This kind of attack is nothing more than painless to the destroyer. The destroyer is essentially a warframe. The metal outside is a magical alloy. As long as there is no problem with the destroyer's energy core, this damage can be repaired very easily. Under Loki's control, the destroyer's body flashed with fire. The deflated thighs returned to their original shape again. At the same time, a blazing red light shot towards Jason from his head. Jason dodged again. He also saw the restoration process of the destroyer. Neither Sif nor he caused any fatal injuries to the destroyer. Real troublesome stuff. Jason grinned and said. A flick of the arm, a long knife about half a meter long appeared in his hand. Jason moved his finger. A layer of light blue light appeared on the silver-white blade. Sparks kept falling from the blade. Thor, have you given your power to others? Sif said, looking at Thor. No. This is not Fudian. Thor stared hard at Jason. Just at this moment, Jason moved. Dragging the long knife, Jason rushed forward. A blue afterimage was left in the air. There was a sound of red-hot iron falling into the water. Jason's long knife pierced directly into the destroyer. The original materials of plasma-cutting weapons can withstand high temperatures. The high temperature inside the destroyer had no effect on this long knife at all. Under Jason's strange power, he directly dragged the long knife down on the destroyer. The entire destroyer was sliced open. A material similar to magma was exposed inside. Exuding a dazzling red light, Jason knew the key to taking advantage of his illness and killing him. The long knife in his hand is constantly flying. Just dismember the destroyer. The high temperature inside the destroyer produced some transparent crystals on the surrounding ground. Wow, see, the good. Jason succeed. Several Asgardians cheered. Thor even helped Sif come up. Jason, you are a true warrior. Patting Jason on the shoulder, Wanja had a silly smile on his face. It was as if it was not Thor who killed the destroyer, but himself. Jason could only smile helplessly. He really just wants to watch the fun. But Loki, that bastard, wanted to cause trouble for him. If you don't do it. I really thought he was easy to bully. Jason smiled and was about to speak. He saw Thor's expression in front of him changed drastically. Careful, yelled loudly. Thor pushed Sifkai away directly. Then a red light as thick as a human head hit Thor directly. Thor's clothes were smashed to pieces. He spit out a mouthful of blood in midair. Then he flew out, falling on the ground. I don't know whether I will live or die. Jason looked back. The destroyer didn't know when it had been repaired. Chapter 117 Thor returns. Please order the full version. Please customize it. Looking at the destroyer in front of him, Jason really had a headache. What the hell is this? Isn't this dead? No wonder it can become Asgard's highest war weapon. Just the ability to resurrect is a big headache for others. You take Thor and go first. I'll hold on to him. Jason turned around and said hello. Go up and get entangled again. 36 strategies. Best move. Since we can't defeat it now, we can only shift our strategy first. Come back and deal with him again if you have the chance. If it doesn't work, let Nick Fury send the army. He still doesn't believe it. If a nuclear bomb is fired, there will still be things that can survive. Such a bulky thing as the destroyer. But there is no escape from the core of a nuclear explosion. While thinking about it, Jason said, Skynet. Trying to scan the destroyer to find out what its core may be, performing particle scan, building a digital model. The target is made of unknown metal and is extremely hard. High energy reactions were detected, and no areas of energy concentration were found. Skynet's execution report is fed back on Jason's helmet. Jason looked helpless. How can we fight this? There is not even an energy core. This thing is indeed no match for him. But it may not be easy to completely destroy this thing. The main reason is that this self-healing ability is really terrifying. Jason could only try to limit the movement of this thing. 990. Let's see if we can get large equipment sent by Skynet. Just capture this thing. But he still fought for a while. Skynet's voice rang in his ears. Surge in energy index detected. The energy increases exponentially, more than 10 times that of the arc reactor, approaching rapidly. At the same time, a red dot appeared on the panel of Jason's helmet. There is a strong red light emitting from it. Via camera, Jason could tell that's a hammer. The hammer is very fast. In Jason's detection, its instantaneous speed even reached a factor of 10. Along the way, it caused violent hair currents. Thor, who was lying dead on the ground, suddenly stretched out his hand. Mjolnir was in his hands. A barrel-thick thunder and lightning fell from the sky. A burst of air burst out from around him. In the light of thunder, pieces of silver-white metal armor appeared from an unknown space and stuck to Thor's body piece by piece. The scars on Thor's body are also repairing quickly. After a while, Thor, wearing armor, stood on the ground. Jason stared at Thor with surprise on his face. After Thor regained his divine power, his whole temperament has changed. Become confident. Next, leave it to me. Thor said something, took out his hammer and rushed forward. A hammer just hit the destroyer dozens of meters away. Jason's pupils shrank. He is indeed the strongest of the Avengers, the son of Odin. Let's not talk about the energy fluctuations on the body. Just this kind of power. A trace of envy flashed in Jason's eyes. These magicians are just unreasonable. The power is so powerful that it is unreasonable. The energy fluctuations on his body are also extremely powerful. The detection interface on his helmet flickered a little. Skynet records energy fluctuations. Performing a particle scan. Use satellites for remote monitoring. Analyzing energy sources. Jason suppressed the envy in his heart. This guy Thor looks childish. In fact, he is already a 1500-year-old guy. It is normal to have this kind of power. What he needs to do now is to monitor carefully and not be jealous from here. Run to the side. Jason took off his armor directly. Remove the scanning device from above and monitor carefully. At the moment Thor was flying into the sky. Mjolnir constantly flicked in his hand. A huge amount of tornado is forming. It's not exactly accurate to say it was a tornado. To be exact, it's a swirling wall of clouds. There is also a blue thunder light constantly flashing in it. From time to time, red light flashed through it. The value of the energy detection device in his hand has exceeded the sky. Based on testing, the energy inside is probably not much greater than the energy in natural rainstorm clouds. General thunderstorm weather. The voltage can reach tens of thousands of volts. More importantly, this energy is released instantly. The power is very amazing. Among the testing instruments, the thunderstorms created by Thor are at least 5 times more powerful than ordinary thunderstorms. Its destructive power may easily reach a level close to that of a missile. And this ability to change the sky in an instant. It's really scary. No wonder these people are so arrogant that they call themselves gods. Odin and Thor, the powerful men, may really have such powerful strength. While Jason was recording data crazily, huge amounts of red light flashed among the clouds in the sky. After a while, Thor walked out of the clouds heroically. He is completely different from the Taihanhan who lost his strength before. Saw Thor coming out. Several Asgard guys ran over quickly. The corner of Jason's mouth twitched as he watched. What a bunch of beasts they are. He was half dead just now. After such a short time, just jumping around. The people of Asgard are a bunch of beasts. No wonder he heard that Asgardians like to race boats since they were young, and they also like to race boats after drinking. With such a physique, it is not surprising that he can do such crazy things. I left and exchanged greetings with a few Asgardians. Thor took the lead and walked over. Jason, thank you for your help these days. It's just that I have to go back and ask my brother now. If I have the chance, I'll treat you to a drink of ale. There's a chance. But do you want to go see Jane first? After giving Sif a calm look, Jason spoke. Yes, I want to see Jane now. Vostager, we will meet at the Bifrost marker. As he spoke, Thor swung his hammer and flew into the sky. Jason wanted to say something else. Then I heard Thor's voice coming from far away. Jason, the remains of the destroyer are yours. Hearing this, a trace of joy flashed across Kunson's face. Thor, enough bro. Suddenly, he became friendly towards several Asgardians. I'm afraid it's not very close to the Bifrost landmark. I'll send you there. That's a problem for you, Jason, Sif said politely. The other 3 Asgard warriors were much more enthusiastic. Good brother, if you come to Asgard, I'll treat you to ale. As he spoke, Volstagg patted Jason on the shoulder with his fat hand. Jason smiled. It's just a little effort. Also, aren't you afraid of heights? We are the bravest warriors in Asgard. How can we be afraid of heights? Volstagg looked insulted. That's good. Jason waved his hand. 4 pieces of armor fell from the sky. They'll send you there. Thank you. Sif said something. I put on my armor and flew towards him. Chapter 118 Nick Fury's thoughts. Please order in full. Please customize. There is a big difference between Asgard and Earthlings, whether in customs or other aspects. When a civilization, or a race, if there is no opponent for thousands of years, they will also be too lazy to think. Naturally, they will not engage in all kinds of intrigues like the people on Earth. It's easy to understand why Thor and those Asgardians easily trust others. However, Jason doesn't hate this feeling at all. On the contrary, he thinks, compared to a dark-hearted old guy like Nick Fury, obviously Thor has better contact. Shaked his head. Jason no longer thinks about these things. His eyes were shining as he looked at the wreckage of the destroyer in front of him. This is good stuff. Although the destroyer at the moment has lost its inner light, only the silver-white metal shell remains. But it's still a rare good thing. Whether it is the composition of metal or the metal structure that can grow again, or maybe it's shape-shifting, all can give people a lot of inspiration. Skynet, send a transportation team to transport this thing back. The destroyer was much heavier than he thought. A metal body less than 3 meters long. In Jason's feelings, this thing costs at least hundreds of tons. Lie flat on the ground. Half of his body was sunk into the soil, so one can imagine how shocking his weight was. This also means the alloy that the destroyer is made of, its density exceeds that of any metal on Earth. Just like the Asgardians, their bodies have 3 times the muscle density of Earthlings. What this brings is their amazing strength and ability to fight against attacks. Jason had reason to be suspicious. The gravity environment of the planet is probably much greater than that of the Earth. Record various conjectures and data into Skynet's database, then pack the destroyer into a truck. Jason was ready to go home. Only, someone he didn't expect appeared in front of him. Hey Jason, what do you want to say to me? Nick Fury's hoarse voice sounded in front of Jason. Looking at Nick Fury blocking the door, Jason took the car away. What do you want to know? You've got something amazing, haven't you? Logically speaking, this is the property of our S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury spoke. Property of your S.H.I.E.L.D. Why didn't I know? What did you S.H.I.E.L.D. do? It's too much to want to come here and pick peaches now. Jason mocked Nick Fury. Nick Fury, this guy. I really want to get my hands on any good thing I see. Except for him, everyone with special abilities in the world will destroy the Earth. I really don't know where this character came from. Nick Fury. Even if I gave it to you, are you sure it can be used to protect the Earth? How are you doing with the cleanup within S.H.I.E.L.D.? As soon as Jason talked about this, Nick Fury just has a dark face. His secret work was not going well. At Jason's reminder, he launched a secret investigation inside S.H.I.E.L.D. But only a few corrupt elements were found. Hydra. He didn't notice anything at all. This made him feel dazed for a while. If Jason wasn't lying, it was Hydra's infiltration that was beyond his imagination, and he already had the evidence. There is indeed Hydra lurking in S.H.I.E.L.D. He has lost control of S.H.I.E.L.D. Suddenly, Nick Fury never mentioned handing things over to S.H.I.E.L.D. He stopped talking when he saw Nick Fury. Jason was a little surprised, but soon, he reacted. Director Nick Fury, you're probably not here just because of me, right? Let me guess you're here for Dr. Selvig. Jason stared. Nick Fury. Dr. Selvig was Jane Foster's teacher. He has conducted profound research on multi-layer space bridges and astrophysics. Nick Fury probably wants to ask this guy to study the Tesseract. Although Nick Fury's underground base has been built long ago, but I'm afraid I haven't found anyone who can preside over the experiment. This time it's because of Thor. He discovered that Selvig was unusual. Now it's time to invite Dr. Selvig. On his side, I'm afraid Nick Fury is here to take a look. In line with the idea of playing 3 polls if there are dates but no dates. Let's test it out. If he gives in, I'm afraid Nick Fury will make a lot of money. In fact, it's pretty much what Jason guessed. Nick Fury did come here to test it out. Please give me flowers. Oh. Even though Jason told him again and again, research on the Tesseract would bring disaster to the planet. But he still didn't give up the idea. The power of Tesseract is too tempting. As long as he can develop it, you can get powerful weapons to protect the Earth. But Jason's reminder is not without effect. At the very least, he was a lot more cautious. The personnel in the underground base were replaced by his confidants. Even they don't know the role of this base. He even went all the way to Mexico in person. I want to invite Dr. Selvig back. As for what Jason gained, he just came to test it out. I didn't even think about it. Seeing Jason expose him, Nick Fury didn't refute. 0. You can take things away, but don't let me know you are doing bad things. I'll keep an eye on you. Jason gave him a disdainful look. You'd better take care of yourself first. To master a power that you should not control is to play with fire and burn yourself. Sooner or later you will bring disaster to the Earth. I can handle my own affairs by myself. Nick Fury said something, turned around and left. Jason curled his lips inwardly. What do you pretend to be all day long? It's like 2,500,000 yuan. Nothing. I cursed Nick Fury in my heart. Jason got in the car again. In fact, it's in his heart. He knows that it is still not easy for Nick Fury. S.H.I.E.L.D. Light is at the Delta Wing headquarters. There are 40,000 employees. The lowest level agent has a monthly salary of $10,000. This does not include various subsidies and office supplies. Take the bald eagle's favorite snack, donuts. The Delta Wing building consumes hundreds of thousands of donuts and 10,000 cups of coffee every day. Think about how much this would cost. There are also various bases, S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy, upgrade agent equipment. The S.H.I.E.L.D. organization consumes more funds every year than the total GDP of some countries. The World Security Council is no fool either. It's impossible to support Nick Fury unconditionally. Nick Fury must maintain international stability. WWBB, at least on the street. Few people are affected by people with super abilities. This is all thanks to S.H.I.E.L.D., and these are all done by Nick Fury. Chapter 119 Researching the Destroyer. Please order the full version. Please customize it. How developed is a civilization? It's not about his upper limit, but his lower limit and material. It is the most intuitive way to see the lower limit of a civilization. The Destroyer is undoubtedly the highest crystallization of Asgard materials in the Marvel Universe, except vibranium and adamantium. There is another very famous alloy, magic metal. Uru. This metal is produced from Nidweel, the hometown of Asgard's dwarf. Uru alloy looks like stone, but has metallic properties and can store a large amount of energy, especially magical energy. When Uru is endowed with magic, he will become quite strong and durable. Because of its unique and ugly appearance, Uru is also called inferior cast iron. It is a non-sparking metal that is quite strong and wear-resistant. Moreover, due to its nature, Uru is highly unforgeable. Only extreme 530 conditions can be cast, such as the energy of fixed star, or powerful magic. Thor's Mjolnir and Odin's eternal strength Gangner are all made of this alloy as the main material. The Destroyer is another Asgardian war artifact. Its main body is naturally this magical metal. Maybe it's because it lost its core energy. Jason was finally able to get a glimpse of its internal atomic structure. The interior of any atom on Earth is actually very similar. There is an atomic nucleus in the center, surrounded by various electrons moving in fixed orbits. Ulu is completely different. He seems to have no such thing as electrons at all. An atom is made up of a large atomic nucleus. It is precisely because of this special structure. He doesn't create a spark. Logically speaking, it has no free electrons and should be a completely non-conductive metal. But actually, Thor's Mjolnir has a powerful ability to conduct electricity. Jason had reason to suspect that this was due to magic, or maybe he didn't observe the more impressive metal structure of Uru alloy. Record these observed data in the database of Near Sky Network. Jason then spoke. Skynet, build a digital model of the Destroyer. Project to the operational projection interface. I want to see his specific structure. Although he figured out the structure of the Destroyer, he still didn't understand how this thing regenerated. And what is its energy source? Energy is eternal. Whatever it is, whenever you want to do work, you need energy, especially a war machine like the Destroyer. Its energy consumption is terrible. Like the destroying light ejected by the Destroyer, I'm afraid one shot can consume the energy of a small village. Not to mention that it requires a lot of energy to repair itself. But now, the Destroyer is just an empty shell. The source of its energy is not seen at all. This is simply unreasonable. Skynet, have you scanned the target energy source? To scan the target energy source, no energetic reaction detected. Skynet's serious voice sounded. Jason was disappointed. It seems like it's magic again. It is estimated that it is energy from sub-dimensions, like Odin. He looks just like a human, but he can blow up planets. The power that erupted was higher than the energy erupted by tens of thousands of nuclear bombs. This is simply unreasonable. This can only be attributed to magic, and with his current level of technology, he is still unable to analyze the energy of sub-dimensions, things attached to the underlying structure of the universe. I want him to study now. It's still a bit overwhelming. Forget it. Let's perform a performance analysis on the Destroyer's material. Analyze hardness, tensile strength, compressive strength, yield ratio, stress. Study the internal structure and try to figure out why it can repair itself. Try to inject energy and see if it activates. Jason issued a series of orders. Skynet began to test one by one. Jason looked at the data. The properties of metals are very complex. Various performances include contradictions and promotions. For example, if a metal wants to be hard, it must sacrifice a certain amount of flexibility. An alloy with extremely high hardness like Uru, there is almost no resilience at all. But the resilience shown by the Destroyer is still very good. The outer armor relies on shape-shifting to absorb a very large portion of kinetic energy. Jason was a little curious as to what the reason was. It took most of the day. Skynet completed performance testing of the Destroyer, as expected. Uru alloy, whether in terms of hardness, wear resistance, or corrosion resistance, surpasses any metal on the Earth. Even atomic Wakanda's vibranium. In some properties, it is not as good as Uru alloy, and it doesn't show any toughness or renewable properties. This made Jason very curious. He believes that as long as he understands the reason, he can grasp why the destroyer is so powerful. Conducting energy injection experiments, Jason slammed the table and said, "Since the destroyer has lost its internal energy, many properties cannot be expressed. He just provides energy." First he tested electrical energy. Thor's mtlnation can pass through large amounts of electrical energy, exert great power. He wanted to try if the destroyer armor could work. Therefore, Jason directly plugged the reactor's function line into the destroyer. To his surprise, destroyer does not exhibit electrical conductivity similar to mtlnation. Powerful electric current to the surface of the destroyer just disappear. There is absolutely no intention of passing. It is indeed a good insulator. But why can mtlnation conduct electricity? Is it because an unknown metal is added to it? Jason scratched his head. Start other energy tests. In the existing technology, the amount of energy that humans can control is actually not much. The only things that can be directly utilized are electrical energy, thermal energy, and solar energy. Other energies such as chemical energy, there is currently no good way for humans to utilize it. 2.2 But Jason does not think that low purity energy can drive the behemoth of the destroyer. Inject high temperature plasma directly into the destroyer and see if there is any reaction. The state of high temperature plasma is very special. The temperature is very high. If there is a thermal unit inside the destroyer, it can absorb the heat temperature and convert it into energy. The destroyer should have responded. After all, the energy used by Asgard to activate the destroyer has high caloric content. Jason had reason to be suspicious. Inside the destroyer, there is a very efficient thermal energy conversion device. It can convert heat into some kind of subdimensional energy, which can be used to activate the destroyer. Skynet is a very good enforcer. As soon as Jason asked, he did as he was told. A large amount of blue plasma was poured into the destroyer. Chapter 120 Resonance Unit. Please order in full. Please customize. Scientific experiment is a very rigorous process. Careful comparison and verification are required to arrive at the results. But it's a unique material similar to the destroyer that resists manufacturing. Jason is naturally not that particular. Various violent measures are directly arranged. In this way, I can test the nature of my destroyer faster. For example, current plasma infusion. He now has no other high concentration energy sources at all, so he can only use his methods more directly. Hopefully the destroyer can handle it himself. Skynet, have you detected changes? Jason asked Skynet. There is a weak energy response, but it cannot be ruled out that it is caused by plasma interference. Further sample analysis is required. Record the energy model and perform simulation analysis. Stop the perfusion and check the energy model. Try switching to a high energy laser to see if the same energy-based reaction occurs. Jason said. Plasma originally also has huge amounts of energy, so it was difficult for him to confirm. Is this energy reaction originally from the destroyer? Or is it an energy signal from the plasma? The same cannot be said for high-energy laser beams. The energy concentration is very high. Basically no energy escape occurs. 26 is perfect for comparison testing. As the device for generating high-energy laser beams, he used an industrial-grade laser cutting machine. The maximum temperature can reach 20,000 degrees. Just control the power and don't worry about laser damaging the destroyer. Under the control of Skynet. Soon, a machine of huge amounts of money was sent up. This 3-meter-tall machine is a laser cutting machine used to cut somewhat hard metals. Now Jason is going to experiment with it. With a buzzing sound, arc reactor. Huge amounts of energy are injected into the laser cutter. A dark red laser shot out. It shot straight into the destroyer's chest. The laser energy is being absorbed rapidly. Surge in destroyer energy index detected. Unknown energy circuits appear on the surface of the destroyer. The destroyer is disintegrating. Needless to say, Jason saw it too. The destroyer seemed to be alive under the illumination of borrowed light. Dark red lines appeared from under the metal, instantly covering the destroyer's body. Then these lines become densely packed, like flowing magma under the outsole. Split the destroyer into thumb-file-sized pieces. Then starting from the head, the destroyer began to collapse. It's as if the destroyer was originally composed of these small pieces of objects. Stop the energy supply. Take out a small piece of the body and see if its properties have changed. Jason stared at the destroyer with an unusually calm expression on his face. Skynet let out his own exclamation from the side. It's incredible. Even under a scanning tunneling microscope, it still appears as a whole. Now it can be split into countless parts. The molecular structure has definitely reached a more microscopic level. Jason nodded aside. It is remarkable that he can now observe the scale of atomic nuclei. This is a world of 7 orders of magnitude under normal conditions. Like a more onlooker level, more advanced equipment is needed. For example, the quantum realm the Ant-Man involves is even more so, and it is no longer observable. Now he wants to figure it out, which is nothing more than wishful thinking. Even so, He didn't gain me anything, a single structural unit for detecting the destroyer. See if you can see how the material heals itself. It's different from the human body. Guys like Banner and Thor who have abnormal resilience. Self-healing actually relies on nutrients inside the human body. Just need to store a lot of amino acids beforehand plus other trace elements. The rebirth of limbs is actually not difficult to understand. It just enhances the body's self-healing tens of thousands of times. But metal is different. Due to its original structure, there is no spare metal material inside. The repair of the body seems to be directly supported by energy. This is basically impossible. The direct conversion of energy into matter can indeed be achieved at some level, but it cannot be achieved with just one armor. There must be other reasons for the destroyer's self-repair. If he could research it, then the performance of his steel armor will be greatly improved. Like nano battle armor, even if it is damaged, it can grow back. Whether it is resistance to ability or other abilities, you will get huge amounts of growth. Jason's thinking time. Skynet's data has been detected. Feedback came directly. What was formed after the destroyer disintegrated was tiny resonant units. When tens of thousands of resonant units form a whole, the destroyers were formed. This is why the destroyer is difficult to destroy and can shapeshift freely. Destroyers are actually resonant units the size of a thumb file. The destroyer cannot be destroyed except by destroying them directly. Jason nodded after listening to Skynet's introduction. Pretty much what he expected. Build a digital model. I want a clearer view of the internal structure. Waited for a while. An enlarged digital model of the resonant unit was directly projected into the mid-air by Skynet. Amazing skills. The dwarf craftsmen of Asgard are truly a race of genius. The reason for Jason's sigh is simple. On the tiny resonant unit, it depicts densely packed small circuits. This energy returns to root 113, which is probably thinner than a hair. It's these tiny circuits of energy, those energy circuits that constitute the huge destroyer's body. Various functions are formed. It's hard for Jason to imagine how these dwarfs are done. The average height of Asgard's dwarfs is about 4 to 5 meters. Although it is called a dwarf, it is actually not short at all. It's not an exaggeration to call him a little giant. Such a race. To be able to create such a sophisticated device, it's incredible. Their forging technology, in some aspects, is probably unmatched by the most cutting-edge technology on Earth. Such a race. They were actually killed by Thanos, leaving only a single meow meow. Thanos, this bastard, really deserves to die. If Dwarf was his subordinate, he might be able to research something. He's even considering it. Do you want to look at the relationship with Thor? Deceive a few dwarfs to come to Earth. At least leave some blood for the dwarfs. Shaking his head, he shook these distant things out of his mind. Jason once again observed the energy circuit in front of him. Skynet, are these energy circuits reproduced? Copy it and then conduct simulation experiments to understand its principles. I don't understand. It's possible to copy the effect. Jason gave the order and Skynet began its work. Chapter 121 Re-Engraving of the Energy Circuit. Please order in full. Please customize. Artificial intelligence is very powerful, especially in the simulation of data. As long as the computing capability is sufficient, artificial intelligence can perform tens of thousands or even tens of millions of operations at the same time. Simulation of the action of energy loops. Essentially it's a process of trial and error over and over again. This is really easy for artificial intelligence. It only takes a few minutes. Skynet has obtained the results of the test. A total of 3 large energy loops were detected on the resonant unit. Adsorbent elements, energy pathways. Perform repair. Preliminary speculation is that the destroyer's self-repair comes from this. The destroyer was not originally composed of pure aeroalloy. Adsorbent various substances in the air can completely repair the destroyer. Hearing this, Jason frowned. How to ensure the strength of the body in this way? The reason why the destroyer is so strong. In addition to the sword blessed by Odin in Sif's hand and the plasma-cutting weapon he made, few weapons can defeat it. Like the weapons of Asgard in the hands of Fandral and Hogan. Can't even break through the defense. Can't even get a spark out. If large amounts of adsorbent-free elements in the air repair themselves, the destroyer's body strength will most likely decrease. What is the difference between this and no repair? There are a large number of redundant aeroalloy elements inside the resonant unit. Through the energy circuit, these aeroalloy elements can move throughout the entire destroyer body. Skynet said so. Jason understood immediately. The destroyer is kind of like the liquid robot from the Terminator. Its body is fluid, although it is composed of small resonant units. But the material inside the resonant unit can flow, distribute the repaired weak points to the entire body. The decrease in intensity is naturally not obvious. Definitely, there is a limit to this. If Jason could destroy half of the destroyer's fuselage instantly, he would not be able to achieve repair. Only, this is somewhat impossible. Aeroalloy is Asgard's hardest metal. There is only one documented instance of aeroalloy being destroyed in the Marvel Universe. That was Thor's hammer that Hela crushed. But something needs to be noted. Odin was already dead by that time. The blessing he had placed upon Mjolnir had dissipated. Mjolnir's defense is at its lowest point. Even so, only a pervert like Hela can destroy aeroalloy. One can imagine just how strong is this thing. It's easy to cut, but it's not that difficult to destroy. After thinking about it, Jason stopped thinking about these things, asked towards Skynet. Have you understood the principle of this energy circuit, Tilda? There are insufficient samples to analyze. It is completely outside the scope of any technology on Earth. Jason was a little disappointed when he heard this, but it's not impossible to understand. This is Asgard stuff after all. There is also magic, Odin's blessing, and other fantasy things attached to it. It is very normal for them to not understand this kind of materialism. He just needs to be able to take advantage of it. Can the copy be completed? After copying the energy circuit, can the original function be preserved? Capable of perfect replication. Whether it maintains its effect will require experimentation. Based on the simulation, no issues were found. Skynet answered meticulously. Jason nodded. Indeed. No matter how real the simulation is, it is still a simulation. The final effect will depend on experimentation. Let's start by creating an enlarged version of the energy circuit. Try to see if it works, Jason ordered. Skynet controls the industrial robot and reproduces the same energy circuit. On the metal surface, a highly sensitive material such as lithium titanium liquefied metal is used to simulate the energy circuit inside the original destroyer. Plus, Skynet's perfect replica technology. Jason can say the energy circuits are exactly the same as those inside the destroyer. Connect the energy and see if there is any effect. Jason stared nervously at the metal plates in the laboratory. Next to it are various monitoring instruments. As long as a reaction occurs inside, he can get feedback immediately. The experiment has begun, and universality has been injected into the army. 1/5 power. The power of the large ark's reactivity is terrifying. One reactor may be able to supply as much electricity as New York City. If the output is full, the resistance inside the metal may cause the metal to melt instantly. 1/5 of the power is already the experimental goal, the maximum electric current that can be tolerated. Because the voltage is too high, before the two come into contact, a discharge occurs. Blue electric current pathways appear on the surface of the alloy. But the energy path inside the alloy is as warm as an old dog, with no sign of change at all. Jason's brows suddenly frowned tightly. Change energy sources and triplasma and high-energy laser beams. Skynet cuts off the electric current. Start changing energy types. But the energy that plays a role in destruction. On the energy circuit he copied, it had no effect at all. The copied alloy plate is just lying in the laboratory. It seemed like he was mocking Jason for not knowing. Jason frowned and thought, what could be the reason? He didn't think Skynet's replication would go wrong. There must be no problem with the energy circuit. The problem can only be energy. What is the difference between the destroyer and the energy circuits? He creates magic. Jason's eyes suddenly lit up. Although dwarf crafting equipment uses fixed star energy for forging, but it is also inseparable from magical energy. That is, the subdimensional energy among others. This kind of energy exists widely in subdimensions and the main universe, although he couldn't observe it. However, this energy originating from subdimensions can also be manipulated to a certain extent. This is also thanks to the white coat of the 10 rings he destroyed. Skynet brought over the subdimensional energy generation device. Try to inject subdimensional energy. The subdimensional energy generating device is very large, Lilihao, but he used the space expansion device to place it somewhere else. The subdimensional energy he controls is the ultimate ice power zone. Can lower the temperature to near absolute zero. Just change a few parameters. He might be able to find the same subdimensional energy that the destroyer harnessed. He can rely on this to activate the energy circuit. Skynet, input the destroyer's abnormal radiation parameters into the machine. Let's see if we can find the right energy parameters. Skynet complied. Soon from the machine, an energy-emitting light blue light was input. Among the samples he made, at the same level as this, in distant Asgard, Odin, who was resting, suddenly opened his eyes. He felt someone was stealing Asgard's power. Soon, he closed his eyes again. Nothing else. This energy is really too weak. Asgard naturally dissipates more energy than this every year. Not worth his energy. Chapter 122 Nano Battle Armor. Please order the full version. Please customize it. Of course Jason doesn't know. His operation actually caught the attention of Odin, the king of gods. He is still immersed in the joy of success. Subdimensional energy is indeed the same magical energy, although I don't know the specific principle of it. But being able to use it is already a very big improvement. If he can monitor enough data now, it can even produce any magic in revenge. What Jason is particularly coveted is the Ancient One space magic. Not just random teleportation, just fight for a while and create a mirror space. It's really too generous. If he could get these data, he might be able to deduce a lot of things. I was envious in my heart for a long time. Only then did Jason stop this meaningless thought. Skynet later used SRT-21 project, build the body and add the energy circuit simulation program. Activation using submicron energy, transforming nanorobot materials and using new titanium alloys. Jason stated his goal. This plan that starts with SRT, actually Tony Stark's nanowar electronics plan. He had acquired this technology long ago. However, due to the high technical difficulty and high cost, for him, there is no qualitative improvement in performance. Jason never started manufacturing plans, Now after he has perfected many other techniques, especially after solving the self-repair problem, Nano Warriors can finally be manufactured, and it has an advantage over Tony Stark. He can completely use space devices to put a large number of nanorobots together. Flexibility is greatly increased. As long as he is willing, he can even make a second or even a third war box. It's just that under normal circumstances, there is no need to do that. Wouldn't it be nice if he used space devices to decorate ordinary armor? Why spend so much money to create nanorobots? 1 cubic centimeter of nanobot. The cost would be hundreds of millions of dollars. A battle armor requires half a square nanorobot. The cost of a single piece of armor is close to hundreds of billions of dollars. Who can withstand this? The Wayne family's money didn't come from strong winds. If he hadn't saved some savings through various means, he wouldn't have been able to build this thing. When Tony Stark created the nanosuit, it was already more than 10 years later. Materials that will be available everywhere in the future. It's probably all in the lab right now. That price is really sad to hear and shed tears to see. Big dogs like him feel like they are robbing money. But now Jason deeply feels the shortcomings of the armor. His strength can no longer keep up, so only upgrade can be done. The biggest advantage of nano battle armor is that it is very flexible. Through the assembly of nanorobots, able to compile various advanced equipment, perfectly making up for the rigid shortcomings of the original steel armor. It's very suitable for his current state where his body is stronger than his armor. Master, are you implanting the underlying self-destruction structure inside the nanorobot? Well, let it become inactive after it loses control, Jason said calmly. This has been planned for a long time. Nanobots are very scary things. Has strong self-reproduction ability. Can absorb minerals and multiply itself. If this kind of thing loses control, it will be very scary. It is difficult for any living thing to stop invasion at the nano level. So in order to avoid accidents in the future, Jason would be better off fixing the underlying architecture from the beginning. There are definitely advantages and disadvantages, and there are advantages. Nanorobots form a battle armor. In fact, it is the most wasteful way to use it. Whether it is medical treatment, strengthening, or self-repair of machines. Nanorobots can perform extremely well. For example, cancer. The biggest difficulty in treating cancer is to distinguish cancer cells from normal cells. With nanorobots, you don't have to worry about this at all. Rely on external control. Nanorobots can clearly distinguish cancer cells from ordinary cells, able to achieve targeted drug delivery, achieve the effect of curing cancer. It's just that the price is a little higher. I am afraid that concrete applications will only be realized in a few years, but it would be a good to use it as a gimmick in Wayne Group. CGFH. At least you can make money in the stock market. While thinking about whether there is something or not, Jason waited for the nanobots to be built. In modern industry, the manufacturing of products is actually a very fast thing, especially a factory like Jason's that is entirely operated by artificial intelligence. Efficiency can be improved to a very frightening level. Half an hour. That's just one meal. The finished product has been delivered to Jason. Nanobots look a bit like flour. However, the color is silvery white. It feels very delicate to the touch. Its energy supply methods are very diverse. Electrical energy, thermal energy, light energy, chemical energy, etc. As long as it is an energy method that humans can now utilize, these microscopic robots at the nanoscale can be used. Definitely. Now they are using the power of the arc reactor. Skynet. Load weapon template. Weapon template loading. Plasma cutting weapon model loading. Skynet's gentle voice sounded. The flower-like nanorobot in Jason's hand seemed to suddenly come to life. Like water, it flows quickly in Jason's hands. A long knife was formed. Jason picked it up and looked at it carefully. You can't tell any difference with the naked eye. Connect to energy. A plasma flow appeared on the long knife, and the items it cut were the same as the original weapon. This made Jason a little surprised. Nanorobots are really powerful and are definitely one of the highest achievements of science and technology. Such a little guy can form any device known to mankind under the control of Skynet. Tony Stark really made a fuss out of making a suit. Don't say anything else. Laser weapons, electromagnetic guns, plasma weapons, etc. Skynet can be synthesized without any pressure. Even Thanos. If you are hit head-on by a plasma weapon with a temperature of several degrees Celsius, you will be in a panic. Tony Stark is really on a narrow road. Skynet, try your best to make it made to financial standards. At the same time, I also built the mobile warehouse I envisioned. Jason spoke. Such a long time. In the warehouse underneath his laboratory. I'm afraid there are thousands of armors stored. It's such a waste to keep this thing down there. He was going to let Skynet create a space device. When the time comes, just take thousands of armors with you. One man is an army, at least on Earth, and let a pervert like Ancient One takes action. Jason didn't think anyone could be his opponent. Later, he can also expand. The thought of this, Jason's face was full of joy. He finally has such a day. Chapter 123, The Trouble with Wayne Group. Please order in full. Please customize. Jason has been staying in the laboratory for the past few days. In addition to the manufacturing of nano battle armor, he also has other technical needs to research. For example, the anti-gravity spacecraft taken from Thor's body. The weird thing is, the Asgard 4, whom he had high hopes for, gave him nothing. The system didn't even give any prompts. It made him extremely depressed. We can only start researching anti-gravity spacecraft. But the difficulty of the research was a bit beyond his expectation. After Jason obtained the system's technology, it is not made directly based on the information. Instead, try to absorb it yourself. Exactly. This technical information comes from Asgard and is completely different from the human system. It was extremely difficult to understand. It made him extremely distressed. This means we have to talk about the differences between the two civilizations. Asgard's civilization system is a typical idealistic civilization. For them, power is just a tool. Like Thor, he was born with the power of thunder. This kind of magical power that can change the celestial phenomena is simply unimaginable on Earth. In Asgard it's very normal. However, there is a problem. Although Thor can use these divine powers, but he doesn't understand the divine power at all. How is divine power generated? What are its properties? What can divine power do? What is its principle? Don't call these Thor. Even Odin doesn't know. And such a phenomenon. That's a common occurrence in Asgard. Technical data is also full of this phenomenon. This made Jason extremely troubled. It is very difficult to understand the technology. He felt like he had lost a lot of hair in the past few days. If not in good health, they might all die suddenly. But Jason has no intention of giving up. Science is interesting because it explores the unknown. But he doesn't go out. It doesn't mean no one comes to him. One day, Jason was studying something. They were asked to come to us. This person, it is his cheap man Bruce Wayne. But this time, Bruce Wayne seems a little decadent for no reason. The first words I said to Jason. He spoke. Jason, please help me become the CEO of Wayne Group. Jason was confused. The Wayne family is the largest shareholder of Wayne Group. In Wayne Group, most shareholders have a good relationship with the Wayne family. The decision made by the Wayne family group was very supportive. Like the Waynes of the previous generation, Wayne Group spent so much money in vain. Run to Gotham City and build infrastructure. This is completely a public welfare investment, and it is very good to recover the capital. Such a plan, in any other company, it would be impossible to implement it. It worked at Wayne Group. One can imagine the ability of the Wayne family to control the Wayne Group. Even though Bruce Wayne was little more than 10 years old, wait until he comes back. He still became the chairman and CEO of Wayne Group. Jason couldn't understand. Why did Bruce Wayne suddenly lose his mind? I actually want to quit this job. Jason didn't bother to guess the mental journey behind Bruce Wayne. Ask directly. Reason? I heard Jason say this. Bruce Wayne started to complain. All in all, it's at today's shareholders meeting. The second largest shareholder of Wayne Group has taken some medicine. I have to pull together a bunch of people to oust Bruce Wayne from the CEO position. I want him to feel at ease as a shareholder and pay dividends. This is the first time since the establishment of Wayne Group. Definitely. This crazy guy didn't succeed. But it also caused a lot of trouble for Bruce Wayne. What is the corruption problem within the group? Some people cooperate with gangs and carry out some illegal actions. There is an inexplicable lack of funds within Wayne Group. In general, just a series of troubles. Bruce Wayne may have to deal with these things in the past month. This also gave him the idea of handing over the power to Jason. Hear this. Jason's face darkened. Is it because you don't have time to go out at night? Bruce Wayne smiled sheepishly. Jason was speechless. Bruce Wayne is a very disciplined person. In addition to exercising every night, I also go out to do heroic things. Fight crime and act bravely, not at all like the playboy Tony Stark. This kind of justice cannot be carried out for a month now. How could he bear it? Aren't these shareholders usually very honest? Why are there so many things lately? It's not like Wayne Group has had problems for a day or two. Why does it seem to have been discussed recently? Jump out together? Heard Jason ask. Bruce Wayne also spoke. Who knows? I didn't find out anything behind the scenes. There is no sign of any connection between this group of shareholders. It seemed like it just burst out. Bruce was very helpless when he said this. The way Jason looked at him, also very helpless. He was very active when it came to using money from Wayne Group. But let him manage such a large group. Forget it. How did Zhu die? Managing such a large group is no easier than managing a country. Moreover, where does he have time to manage so many things? He still has to do research. I'm going to have a try with this guy Thanos. Think about it. Jason spoke. How about forget it and find a professional manager? We just need to be shareholders from the back. I think Fox is very good. His management ability is very strong and his relationship with us is also good. Bruce Wayne glanced at him, said angrily, "You think I didn't think of it?" Fox said he wanted to study technology, but he didn't have time at all. Who asked you to provide so much technology? Now, Fox has no interest in running the company. Jason was a little helpless when he heard this. Is this still my fault? Fox is a technician after all. Advanced technology is now available. Naturally, I have no interest in doing management work. However, Now he has a very headache. He was even a little envious of that bastard Tony Stark. Don't worry about anything. Little Pepper took care of everything for him before the little peppers grow. There is also the Tulmano Obadiah. He doesn't have the right talent at his disposal. There are only a few people the Wayne family can trust, but there is no talent that can be trusted. This made him very distressed. Although the Wayne family's businesses are managed by trusts, but Wayne Group is different. As a company on the surface, Wayne Group maintains a high degree of independence. Those shareholders also distrust trust institutions, so things are very troublesome for B. Chapter 124, The Secret Court of Owls. Please order the full version. Please customize. After all, Wayne Group is his own family's industry, and it is now his largest source of cash flow. Jason still couldn't ignore it. Well, let me help you deal with the recent affairs first. I will investigate several shareholders and find out the various things. After dealing with these things first, let's talk about professional managers, Jason said helplessly. It's really not possible to recruit directly from the public. Make Bruce Wayne the de facto controller. Find someone to take care of the practical stuff. All Bruce Wayne needs to do is sign. Isn't that what Tony Stark did? In addition to causing trouble for the Stark Group, other matters are not handled by Obadiah's tool. It's just Pepper taking care of it. Tony Stark only signs. Stark Group has not collapsed, Jason thinks. Bruce 223 Wayne could also learn a lesson. Bruce Wayne heard Jason say this. He also said helplessly, "That's all we can do now. I'll deal with these things first." Bruce Wayne just came to find someone to vent to. I didn't expect to really push Jason to the front desk. Telling Jason these things made him feel much better. Turned around and left. Corresponding, the expression on Jason's face was not very beautiful. Well researched. Are these people causing trouble for him? What kind of behavior is this? This is preventing him from saving the world. Skynet, investigate this group of people carefully for me. If they make me angry, they will send them to prison, in a place like Gotham City, as long as it is capital. None without blood. Even the Wayne Group is not without lives in its hands. It was impossible for the Waynes to detect the lowest level of behavior. As long as it is capital, it carries original sin. He didn't believe it. Can do this. There is no shit behind these shareholders. Normally there is no problem when no one is looking for trouble. You can let them grasp the handle once. Even if there is a small problem, all these people will be sent in. Also, investigate whether there is any secret connection between these people. Are there any internal corrupt officials who were instigated by others? Is there any exchange of interests between the factions? Jason said directly with a cold face. Although Jason time traveled to a foreigner, but I still have traditional Japanese thoughts in my heart. I like growing up in a humble way and farming with peace of mind. If you don't let me farm with peace of mind, I will prevent you from seeing next year. He said something viciously. Jason asked Skynet to start a rigorous investigation. In today's society, as long as they have a conversation, there is no way to escape Skynet's eyes. Because of an order from Jason, within Gotham City's network, countless data streams are constantly flowing. Countless data have been collected into Skynet's database. Not long after, a report was placed in front of Jason. Skynet made the problems facing Wayne Group clear. Internal corruption issues. It is a spontaneous act of several group members. This is unavoidable in any large enterprise. People are selfish. Once you have a large number of corporate rights, you must seek benefit for yourself. Jason has nothing to say about this. Just send these people directly to jail. The real trouble is the issue raised by shareholders. There is indeed a connection behind this. Skynet investigated. A confidant of the second largest shareholder. I've been very busy lately. In front of a few small shareholders, there are all kinds of good people dancing. I secretly want to cause trouble. Skynet, investigate carefully and see who Mr. Anderson has met recently. Are there any major fund changes within the company? Did you encounter any crisis? Jason had a cold face. The second largest shareholder of Wayne Group. The group equity held is not very large, only 20%. I have always had a very good relationship with the Wayne family, and Jason doesn't think he has the ability to replace Bruce Wayne. This is very interesting. This shareholder is not a fool. Without enough assurance, how could he do such an irrational behavior? Could it be that he suddenly lost his mind? Jason is even more convinced that someone is doing something behind this. Want to be detrimental to Wayne Group. Expanding the scope of supervision. Detect everyone who might be causing trouble. Check every message they have. I still don't believe it. Gotham City is his rear area. He has a lot of good science and technology, but without the support of Wayne Group, he can't produce it at all with these techniques. Like the miserable Dr. Bruce Banner, also a top scientist. Tony Stark is a hot drinker. Dr. Bruce Banner drinks Northwest wine every day. Tony Stark also mastered Superman's powers, and it doesn't give the military face. Does anyone in the military dare to pursue him? That's because Tony Stark has money. So does Jason. Without the massive financial resources of Wayne Group to support it from behind, his situation must be much more difficult. Now someone is trying to mess with his base. This is because I want to fight him for my life. Do these people really think he is the same as Bruce Wayne? Don't you like revenge? Jason sat quietly in the laboratory, waiting for Skynet's report. Inside the laboratory, the only silence was the buzzing of various instruments. Master, We found some encrypted databases. Perform brute force. Jason raised an eyebrow. Skynet is currently performing all related operations. In other words, the database Skynet found has a very close relationship with the Wayne Group. Perform a brute force attack. Look what they've hidden. Soon, Skynet mobilized all the computing resources of the server. Start performing brute force cracking. The data was quickly sent directly to Jason. Jason was a little surprised when he saw what he saw in front of him. Court of Owls, Replacement Plan 2.4, Talon. It's also related to Hydra. Jason was very surprised now. Court of Owls. It is not a formal organization, but an organization similar to a secret association. They are made up of wealthy people from Gotham City. These people have nothing to do if they have too much money. He began to secretly control everything in Gotham City. They rely on wealth, power, and the claws of their men. Controls the entire Gotham City. It is even involved with many outside organizations. The power of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why there isn't much power in Gotham City? The Court of Owls is doing a lot of things in the back. This is the Earth Emperor of Gotham City. Recent events at Wayne Group. They did it all. What Jason cracked was their secret. The database used to record many things. Chapter 125, Never Compromise. Please order in full. Please customize. Court of Owls. It is an organization with a very long history. Back in the colonial days of bald eagles, they were already in Gotham City. They have a very close relationship with the big and small forces in Gotham City. To maintain their rule, they do everything possible. Wealth and power are just the basics. The secret deterrent is the claws. Talon is an organization composed of 46 super abilities. These people have super fighting ability and are proficient in assassination. There is no difference between everyone's fighting ability and Batman's. It also has regenerative healing factor. Jump off a building, cut in half, or even explode. They all survived it. In Gotham City, this power is already very powerful. After all, this is not like New York next door. S.H.I.E.L.D., the magician holy place of the Ancient One, various superheroes with powerful abilities, large corporations, and the military. I'm afraid any one of them could beat even my mother from the Court of Owls. The reason why owls are so rampant, it's because the Wayne family is so kind. Even among the Wayne family, they are considered dark-hearted. None of the criminals caught were executed. They were all sent to prison. Such behavior. 26 is just a joke. Let's not talk about it yet. Can various prisons be able to house these super ability people? You imprison other people's men in other people's prisons. Isn't this just playing house? Don't say anything else. Bruce Wayne's best friend Superman. Get him to Gotham City. Less than a month. Let Gotham City be selected as a civilized city. But Bruce Wayne didn't do that. I hope to influence or scare these people. Have to say, Bruce Wayne is so naive. Now it seems people in the Court of Owls seem to think that Jason is also a traditional Wayne family member. The bullies came to my door without any regard. If a tiger doesn't show off its power, can it really be considered a sick cat? I really thought that because I was a member of the Wayne family, I wouldn't dare to kill anyone. A sneer appeared on Jason's lips. Skynet, how many people in Talon are keeping the highway? There are 27. Skynet's voice sounded determined. They're unknown and start taking action tonight, Jason said with a sneer. Want to bring down the Court of Owls? First, we must cut off their means of force. A rich man who lost the protection of force. That's the chicken on the chopping board. Let him be slaughtered. This time the whole Gotham must be washed away with blood. Let Gotham be the only voice of the Wayne family. In this way, no one would hold him back. He can then concentrate on dealing with other people. Take a deep breath and speak directly. Skynet, activate all steel armors directly. Designate an arrest plan to ensure nothing goes wrong. Also contact Nick Fury. Ask him if he is interested in getting involved in Gotham City's forces. According to the character of this guy Nick Fury, I'm afraid he must have been very unhappy in a domestic enclave like Gotham City. Now he just needs to be offered a chance. Plus the Wayne family agree. He didn't believe that Nick Fury wasn't moved. With a cold face, Jason began to make arrangements slowly, including letting Skynet contact some people, ease the panic in Gotham City and control the fishing environment in Gotham City. He could imagine. All he had to do was take action. What kind of rebellious enthusiasm will the rich people in Gotham City have? With their power, controlling the fishing boat couldn't be easier. By the time Jason may become a sinner in Gotham City's history, maybe they can promote him as a demon against humanity. Jason naturally had to be prepared in advance, and in a short moment, get the job done. Don't give these people a chance to resist. This is sure to cause a lot of confusion. That's why he wanted to collaborate with Nick Fury. It couldn't be better for S.H.I.E.L.D. to come out and clean the floor. It was exactly as Jason expected. Soon, Nick Fury video called him directly. Nick Fury on the other end of the video looks very tired. What do you want to do? What you do is definitely uphold justice and do what you S.H.I.E.L.D. should do, Jason said coldly. Logically speaking, the emergence of an organization like OWL is a failure of S.H.I.E.L.D. Definitely. The Court of Owls is older than S.H.I.E.L.D. But if S.H.I.E.L.D. suppresses it with all its strength, the Court of Owls will definitely not be so powerful. When Jason is thinking about something, Nick Fury looked at Jason with a tired expression on his face. He heard about Jason. I went to check S.H.I.E.L.D'S reports. Although S.H.I.E.L.D. has no power in Gotham City, that's compared to other cities. Compared to ordinary small organizations, S.H.I.E.L.D. is still very powerful. He soon got the news. Heard what happened at the Wayne Group shareholders meeting. He cursed the people of the Court of Owls 10,000 times in his mind. It was an eventful time. These people are still causing trouble. It seemed that he really indulged them too much. These rich people. Did you think this was the colonial period? In desperation, Nick Fury spoke directly. What do you want to do? Do you want to take action against the Court of Owls? You do know. Jason snorted coldly. Nick Fury is indeed not a good person. Clearly no. And let it go. It would be a waste to leave S.H.I.E.L.D. to him. I scolded Nick Fury in my heart. Jason suddenly felt that he was so swollen that Nick Fury didn't even care about him anymore. Nick Fury doesn't care about Jason 197's little thoughts. He spoke directly. No, you can't touch the people in the Court of Owls. No. Why not? Jason said with a cold snort. The influence of this group of people is so great that you don't even know how many industries they have. Nick Fury spoke. What does this have to do with me? Jason asked rhetorically. Could it be that this group of people is powerful and influential? Can they not be punished if they make a mistake? They can always control Gotham City. Let the entire Gotham City become a hotbed of crime. The Wayne Group does so much charity every year, saved so many people. But to be bullied, random grannies and dogs coming to covet the Wayne family's property. Why? Seeing the disdain on Jason's face, Nick Fury spoke again. Jason, you have to take care of the overall situation. The situation has been tense recently. You don't want to make the situation more chaotic. Jason shook his head when he heard this. Big picture? What's the big picture? If you keep the overall situation in mind for too long, you will become a person who can only compromise. And he didn't believe how much chaos could be caused by eliminating a few wealthy people. After the Battle of New York, how many people died in New York? Hasn't prosperity been restored? Nick Fury, I'm just letting you know. S.H.I.E.L.D. Get ready. After saying that, Kunson Knoxon hung up the phone. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.